You are expecting a supply caravan just before winter entombs you. But it is spring now. Enough time to delve secure lodgings ere the Yetis get hungry. A new chapter of Iron Circus history begins here, at this place, YouTube, Iron Circus channel. Strike the earth.
You told
I'm
me not
Spike.
to bully you, but then you open once again with something.
Yeah,
No,
when you do stuff
I
like
don't
this,
know.
it's
know
hard not to.
what you're referencing.
That's okay.
It's Twilight Zone, or
No, it's
probably
Oh.
Night Gallery.
No, it's not that either.
Oh. I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm Kel. Spike's weird.
Yes, that's true.
I'm Amanda, and we have a guest.
Hello,
Hello.
guest.
I'm that bitch.
A guest
Andrea.
we all know extremely well.
Yes.
Hello, friends.
A guest
my
who gave
debut
me
on
weed
Geekshow.
gummies in a hotel once.
This is Andrea
got my
Purcell,
job.
the administrative branch of Iron Circus Comics. If you have ever written support at Iron Circus, submitted a publishing proposal to Iron Circus, or dropped any kind of letter to Iron Circus in any capacity, chances are decent it either went directly to her or she saw it at some point. Hello, Andrea.
Hello.
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 And it's been quite a week for everyone here.
I mean, most relevant, she's also an
Oh.
editor.
Also an editor.
I am.
Andrea wears many hats.
I got too many hats.
Several hats. As is the small business way. Too many hats for everyone. We're all dying. We're all dying inside.
It has been a big week though for
dying.
books I've edited.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. It's been a big year. I guess I'm going to be this way because it's December, but
Go ahead and brag, Spike. You earned it.
No, it's arbitrary passage of time, meaningless in a practically endless universe. But because we have decided to establish these boundaries of time, I can't help but assign some kind of value to them. So it's December, and I'm just thinking about what Iron Circus has done this year, and it won 2 Eisner Awards, and it saw its triumphant return to Smut Peddler crowdfunding with the biggest funding Smut Peddler ever. And I cannot shut up about this. I'm very sorry, but it's a thing I constantly feel the need to highlight. While the backer kit Smut Peddler did outperform every other Smut Peddler to date, like all the ones on Kickstarter, it's done better than all of them. It actually did better than it even looks like it did, because backer kit, like the crowdfunding on ironcircus.com, does not include shipping. So everyone is backing for just the flat amount of the book and not adding on $3, $7, $14 for shipping. So if it were on Kickstarter right now, it would have definitely hit 200K and probably gone higher. So it looks like it's even better than it looks like it is. And that is incredibly satisfying. Just that whole sort of, I still got it, Marie. Like that kind of angle.
Especially considering one of the books we're crowdfunding is your 10th anniversary Smut Peddler.
Yeah, Smut Peddler X. This is fucking really good. I did not come up with that. I can't take credit for that. Smut Peddler.
This was my idea. It's my baby. Spike didn't even know when the anniversary for Smut Peddler was.
I still don't know.
All me.
I know
That's
the year.
a parent thing to do. Forget your kids' birthdays.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know the. Oh God. A regular feature of the last few years has been not remembering my own wedding anniversary, and then getting my husband getting a call from the other room, and he starts just laughing hysterically, and then he sticks his head in my office and he goes, "Baby, what day is it?" And it turns out it's his mom calling to, say happy anniversary. And it's like 9:00 at night, and neither of us had remembered. Yeah.
I've been married almost 5 years, and I don't think I've remembered our anniversary once.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my God.
I forgot what day I was getting married.
Yeah, it's just so fucking like, we're
It's
not
just a party, brah.
Yeah, we're not huge, counting down the days people. We're not huge X's on the calendar people, so it's easy for time to become a flat circle, as the kids say.
Well, to be fair, I also neither of y'all had like a wedding, right?
No, I like to say we got married at City Hall. That's not technically correct. We got married at the Chicago Cultural Center. which is where they will do marriages, and it costs like $20. So technically not at City
I think
Hall.
it's hard to remember when you don't have a billion like invitation cards reinforcing the date.
Yeah, and you don't
I
like.
mean-
For a while there, I was kind of super into looking, and not for myself, but because I just really was fascinated by
Was it
the
for me?
import people placed on it. Like the ephemera of the wedding, preserving it. And I was going through Etsy and I was going through Pinterest and I was looking at all the various ways people could figure out to make their weddings last forever. And one of them was just, frame your wedding dress, and hi, I'm a professional wedding dress framer, and preserve your
You never see
bouquet.
those
And
stickers on the signs for dry cleaners for wedding dress cleaning?
oh no, I've never seen that. No. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just
no.
kind of fascinating to me because it's clear some people have been thinking about this for a while and want it to last forever.
Well, it's
And,
also they're so fucking expensive if
Yeah.
you're doing a quote unquote proper wedding that
Yeah.
like I guess like if you spent that much fucking money on it, you would want some like
Mhm.
here's
lot of folks buy them as
memorabilia
heirlooms.
from
Yeah.
It's not even
that's-
memorabilia. There's wedding dresses that have been handed down since the, First World War in some families.
Yeah, that is true. And it's just kind of fascinating to me because whatever urge lurks in some people for that has never lurked in me. So
I will say
Everybody's got something.
if I ever did get a big wedding dress and I couldn't sell it or wear it again, I would probably just go like find one of those YouTubers who has one of those like craft shows and be like, "Hey, you want some content? Cast my wedding dress in resin."
I mean, I got my wedding dress from Goodwill, and I originally wore it not as a wedding dress, but to S-Prom X, the first year that they were doing it, and I had a big masquerade theme. And then later on, when I needed a wedding dress, I realized that I had a white dress already in my closet, and I just wore that because I already had it.
yeah.
1,000 years ago, when I did get married pre-divorce, I wore the dress I wore to nice events, like to Thanksgiving dinners and to.
Traditional though, before white dress became popular.
No, it was a
Mm.
brown dress.
Oh.
It was just this little. No,
Pretty.
I'm saying like it was a dress I already had that I wore to nice events, like funerals and Thanksgiving. You know,
Funeral of your
just
The
the
dress.
nice dress, the
Yeah.
inoffensive nice dress.
When they tell you to dress up, it's the dress you choose.
Because this is when my outfits, my wardrobe started getting more clownish, but not enough. I can wear this loud and proud in a courtroom way. Whereas now I would
Uh-huh.
dress like a clown in the courtroom. I wouldn't care. But then I was like, no, I must be respectable. I must wear my nice occasion brown dress with the little camisole thingy.
Oh god, the camisoles.
Little camisole.
They have so many cardigans from like different malls, like H&M cardigans just stuck in the closet somewhere.
Thank God I'd never have to dress up for anything ever again.
I am,
It sucks though, because I liked dressing up, and
I
now
like
no one
dressing
sees
up.
me.
but like now I'm finally at that point where I dress up the way I like to dress up, where instead of the brown dress is important because.
I have them all fooled.
Yeah, that I don't own any dresses like that. I own dresses now, but now they're all, oh, I like this, unless I need a dress to trick people.
I just like. Oh, go for it, Kat.
I hate getting dressed up.
Same.
I am of
You and
the
Spike can
opinion
sit in
that
there over there.
yeah, I'm of the opinion that if jeans are a dark enough color, they're dress jeans.
Yes.
Oh
Preach
my
it.
god.
Preach
I
the
like
gospel.
getting dressed
Preach
up.
the gospel.
I like getting dressed up, but more in a I like wearing costumes kind of way. Like I like putting on lots of makeup because it's fun, and I like wearing. I think the things I wear wouldn't necessarily be considered nice dress clothes, but I like them.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. In the summer, t-shirt, skirt. I got full air. I get cool. All my skirts have pockets. In the winter, listen to this: fleece-lined tights. I am warmer than any motherfucker alive. I am wearing a sexy bag. That's all a dress is. It is a sack that makes me look good. Y'all are sleeping on it.
This makes me think of S.W. Searle, one of the Iron Circus creators, who has said that they like dresses a lot because it's like people think you're being fancy and have put in a lot of effort, but no, it's just a sack.
Yep.
You just
great.
throw it
A
on.
nice t-shirt and a cute skirt has gotten me more compliments than the nicest outfit I've ever worn.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
there's the dress I wore
And they've got
to, I think Kelly
pockets.
even saw it because I wore it to Blue's wedding. But it's my favorite, laziest, nicest outfit because I put it on. That's it. And it's pretty and it's flowy and it's not restrictive. And like,
Oh, I love
and it
those.
swishes. The wind blows and I look like a princess. But like, it weighs nothing. And I wear sneakers with it and it looks fine.
Oh, I just want to say really quick,
do
Havelock
it.
got it. Yes, Havelock, that is exactly what I did. It is a reference to Dwarf Fortress.
You nerd.
I'm
No,
excited.
I
What
was
can I
never
say?
gonna get
Who has time to play
People
video
told
games
me
and
that
read
there is
comics?
Dwarf Fortress stuff like coming out, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't need Dwarf Fortress. I have RimWorld.
Yeah,
That
that's a fair
has
argument.
filled the hole in my life that was Dwarf Fortress filled.
Yeah. For folks who don't know, there is a game. It is called Dwarf Fortress. It is probably the reason your favorite city or colony management sim even exists. It's 20 plus years old. It's programmed by two brothers and a couple of their assistants. And it's like painfully detailed and incredibly immersive. And it's just build a little dwarven mountain home underground. And if you like RimWorld, if you like Prison Architect, if you like Oxygen Not Included, if you like any
years
of those,
ago, someone tried to
Yeah.
recommend me Dwarf Fortress, and I was like, oh, and I looked at one Let's Play, and I'm like, I refuse to look at that for more than 5
oh
minutes.
yeah. Yeah, the big thing about it for years, the thing that really puts people off of it, myself included, by the way, is that for years of its development, it had zero graphics. I'm not talking about bad graphics, not programmer graphics. I mean, literally, it just used things like brackets and at symbols and asterisks
So wait, are you saying it was set up like an old school mud?
Yeah, it was
that's
incredible.
fun.
It's
Did
incredibly
you get
painful
to play
to
any
play.
games?
And the Steam release, the thing that everyone's excited about because it came out on the 6th, is it finally now has a graphic set and a retooled user interface. And it's just the learning curve for it isn't quite so precipitously steep and punishing. So it's now easier for normies to access it. So I bought it and I'm excited to give it a shot. I haven't had a chance to play it yet though.
I don't understand why someone would play a management sim. Like, that's my
It's
job. You run a company, Spike.
but it's
Why would you want to
different.
play a management
Because
company?
the
Like,
stakes are different. Like for
okay,
example,
okay.
running like an airport simulator is like, I'm the reason these can't get to their. It's me. And that's either something troubling, like, oh no, I wanted to make a good airport, or it's very satisfying, like, yes, I caused the problem.
Yeah,
listen, Andrea, in real
Yes.
life, I can't turn my enemies into dogs.
Yes, that's
You know, I was gonna say there's meat grinder aspect to Spike's playthroughs, I feel.
Yeah. And it should be noted
Kindly.
it should be noted that one of my favorite sort of dwarf, clearly, unequivocally, undeniably Dwarf Fortress inspired games, and Kel's too, RimWorld, it doesn't describe itself as a game. It describes itself as a story simulator. And if you ever play it, that is like absolutely the perfect description for it. Because to this day, I still think about playthroughs. Like, if you search my Twitter for the phrase "daddy war crimes," you will find a sort of intermittent Let's Play I did about RimWorld where I played this woman who was dumped on a planet, naked with nothing. And 14 years later, she has these like triplet daughters who all have giant machine guns and this war helicopter she uses to sell drugs all over the planet. And she eventually gets nuclear capabilities and nukes everyone but her. And like, that's fun. That's
well,
fun.
all right.
The same way, like, Amanda and Kel and I have joked for years on end about, oh God, this person's going to come to our convention table and they're going to talk about their D&D character. Like, I get that same impulse when I talk about my RimWorld games because they're that involving and
Spike,
interesting.
I've never had that panic. I have my own unique I make porn panics.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
I mean, it happened. You remember, right? The day I abandoned you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, let's back up and start this from the beginning, please.
Okay, so which convention was it, Spike?
Oh God, I could never tell you. I can't even remember.
All I remember is me and Spike, this is when we were tabling together as creators. I was not representing Iron Circus yet. So we were selling our books side by side. I had my pornography and my non-pornography. Spike already had a few smut peddlers. So it was a pretty porn-centric table.
Yep.
And so we're sitting there, and this guy, first red flag, he was dressed up like one of the Nostalgia Critics characters. Like, that was his cosplay. Should have been the first red flag, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I recognized Spike that, and Spike didn't. So I was like,
yikes.
oh no. And Spike was like, oh, what are you?
Spike lives a
Don't engage
blissful
them, Spike.
existence where she doesn't know stuff about the Nostalgia Critic.
I know. That's
The
why she tried to
innocence.
like introduce us in an elevator. I was like, no, Spike, no.
The innocence. The innocence.
That's the other story where
I
like
have no
we saw
idea who that person is.
Doug Walker. He's like this famous.
You don't have
aren't
to explain.
missing anything. He's mad about children's movies on the internet. That's it. That's
professionally.
Bless his heart.
Yes.
Hey, good for him.
But I recognized him in an elevator in a very much like, oh, it's that dude. And Spike was like, oh, okay. I said that. I was like, oh, and Spike recognized the recognition in my face. So Spike looked at him and went like, hey, hi, this is my friend Amanda. She's a fan, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, that's not what that facial expression was. No,
Spike.
Spike. And tried to invite him over to the table, and then he got out of the elevator. I was like, Spike, no, I hate him. Spike was like,
I have
oh.
had the opposite experience when Spike talks to an internet famous person. Because I remember at San Diego Comic-Con, Spike and I were walking around, and Spike stops and was like, do you know who that is? And I was like, no, Spike, I don't. And she's like, that is MC Front-A-Lot. And like you then
Bless.
tried to introduce me to him, and I could not care less. Like, it was like,
Oh,
I've also
Spike,
had this
don't care
experience.
about-
Let me rephrase. I do not hate the man. I just hate the character. When I said I hate
Uh-huh.
him, I don't know the man. Just hate the character.
fair enough.
He's
Fair
very
enough.
shouty.
Yeah,
There's a lot
that
of
was his
things.
whole bit. That was his.
That's
that was a
still his
different-
bit. It has not changed, Spike.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
But that was like a
He
different
is still
phase of the-
professionally angry at children's movies.
In an extremely unintrospective, I will never change way.
Yeah,
But-
that was the thing, the done thing on the internet back in
No.
the day.
Because all those people change for the most part.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they all evolved and stuff. Like, they've moved on. Like, there are very few who are still.
Well, Spike is saying at the time that he
Oh, yes,
started,
it was
that
the
was
style.
the thing.
It was
Yeah.
the style of
Yeah.
the time, etc. So the
The
original
super
story
angry guy.
goes. So this is. But I don't even know. It was not the same convention. Was it? Wait, was this Connecticon? I don't think it was.
Oh God, I
Too
could
many
never.
conventions.
Too many
Yeah,
conventions.
it all bleeds together.
They all blend together. So
Yeah.
like I did my stream of consciousness loose association convention and nostalgia critic thing. I jumped from one subject to the other. So the guy in this nostalgia critic cosplay, he's at our table and he picks up our book and he's like, ho ho, so this is like I guess sometimes people just don't believe it. Like they see the title
Yeah.
Smut Peddler, like, oh, so what is it? And they open it. Oh, it is what you said it was. Oh, okay. Or with my book Titty Time, people go, oh, Titty Time, and they open book. Oh, yeah, that is
Yeah.
boobs.
Oh, it is about titties.
Like, oh, okay. Like I
That's
don't know.
what-
People think it's like a joke or something.
They think we're fooling.
I don't know.
Oh.
So that's what the guy did, and he starts going through all this stuff. He's like, oh wow, and then he begins to explain that he is poly, and I'm like, that's cool, that's fine. That he is pan, I'm like, okay, that's cool. That he dates tons of lesbians, and it just keeps going. He's like,
Yeah.
it gets to a point where he will not. I don't know how to make him go away. And I don't know if Spike was. I couldn't tell how Spike was feeling. I like at the time I knew Spike was into garbage. So I'm like, is she enjoying this? I don't
I
know.
love
I
garbage.
can't read her
love
face.
garbage.
I don't know how she's feeling. And all I knew was like, I can't do this. He keeps going, and I don't know how to make him stop. And now he's talking about having sex under a bridge with many lesbians.
Oh.
So I looked at Spike and said, I forgot, I have to go do something. I'll be right back. And what do something was I waddled down to Casey Green's table and said, may I please sit here? A man is scaring me.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I like crouched around and just sat at Casey's table with him because like I can't go back.
I've
don't
done
like
that.
the
I've
man.
done that.
Yeah, for folks
No,
who
I've
aren't
done
aware,
that.
for folks who aren't aware, I don't know if this is still the vibe, but definitely was the vibe for maybe the first 5 years, 6 years we were doing Smut Peddler. When people find out you do porn sometimes at convention settings, they don't say, "Oh, you make dirty comics. Interesting." They go, "Oh, this is a signal for me to start massively oversharing and possibly hitting on you."
Yeah. And I do not believe this man was hitting on either of us. I think he just saw in his
He was
mind
just oversharing.
kindred spirits somehow. And he was like, let me share how we are similar. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, we are
I've
not,
had
sir.
guys try to give me their number at shows.
Now,
The dude at C2E2 wouldn't leave me alone.
at the time, I didn't know how Spike felt about it. But when I got Beck, I knew because she gave me this look and was like, and she outright said, "You abandoned me." She was very like offended. It was very like, now it's funny, but at the time I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She's like, "Wow, you just left me to deal with that."
I remember one time at Anime Central, Spike and I were tabling next to each other, and this lady had her child and her husband with her. And when she found out a character in my comic was gay, she was like, "I only read about gay relationships because heterosexuality is boring and gross." And she said that in front of her husband and child. So it was
right,
just like,
she should say it.
That's
wow.
I
it's
mean,
more like,
nobody in her presence could have been heterosexual.
To be fair, yeah, I do say that in front of my cis straight husband all the time.
Yeah. But
Straights are boring. It's true.
no, we are not boring. If you're bored, if you're boring, if you're bored, it's because you're boring.
Okay.
Yes. I have interesting stories from conventions that
Like we don't have look, let us drag you.
let
us have this.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, it's one of those things where I'll never be like overwhelmed, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they're so mean to me." It's like, whatever.
I don't usually like the phrase, but there's like the phrase, "the straights are not okay." I don't actually say that.
I actually enjoy that a lot.
No, but the variation I do is something will happen and I'll pause and I'll quietly go, "Oh, the straights are not okay."
Yeah. They're like, I absolutely understand the whole straights are not okay thing, particularly when I'm seeing shit online, like someone poses two skeletons together, like holding hands,
and
sitting on the sidewalk,
bones.
and like one has to be the fucking girl, but you can't just sit there and let someone decide one is a girl. You have to go and find bone titties to put on it. So you're looking at a skeleton that has what looks like a bra made out of bone on it, just so it's like, this one is the girl. These are straight skeletons. It's like,
well, how am I supposed to tell if she doesn't have eyelashes, Spike?
Yeah, that too. It's like a bow on her head, lips and eyelashes.
One of my favorite memes going around right now is it's a smiley face without eyelashes, and it's labeled boy. And then a smiley face with eyelashes is labeled girl. And then there's a third smiley face that has bottom eyelashes, and that's labeled whore.
Solid.
No lies detected. But
I should go to the bathroom, but I'll be right back.
Okay. But yeah, that's it. There are multiple "are the straights okay" moments, like shit, like, there was this other thing that was a pregnancy announcement, and it was by farmers, and the woman
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, the woman was in the livestock catch, like the thing where you feed cattle through one at a time.
The insemination gate.
Yeah, and it catches them around the neck. So she had stuck her head through that, and the man was standing next to it, just holding a big sign that said "bread." Like BRED, and I'm just like,
oh, this is not the one I was thinking of. I was thinking about the one that was referencing how they check for that.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that
with the
gloves?
That's
how I can tell you didn't grow up near rural folk.
Yeah, but it's
city slicker.
It's why?
Okay, you can
'Cause
say it's because you didn't
straight.
grow up near like rural folk, but like I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of rural folk who'd be
You ever
like,
go to a 4-H?
Yeah, a
Like
lot
an
of rural folk
animal?
would never do that.
Like an animal? No.
It's fucking weird. It's fucking that and the whole referring to, you know, you have 2-year-olds and the 2-year-olds are in a circle and they're at that like phase in their development where they're literally their brain is incapable of cooperative play. So you have a little boy and a little girl with their backs to one another among the Duplo and they're just banging blocks together and drooling on themselves. And maybe 6 feet away is a table of moms and other assorted relatives going, "Oh, she's flirting with him." Like, no.
Well, that's not always the case. I
Yeah,
bit
I
a lot
saw-
of children when I was younger.
Also, I will also say sometimes that's just talking. Like
Yeah.
because sometimes you say that because it is a baby and you know it's not thinking anything. Kind of the way I talk to
Yeah.
animals, like they've done
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
wrong. Like
Yeah.
like a cat will walk up to me, I'm like, what the fuck do you want?
And screaming at
Mhm.
your rats and calling them criminals.
Yes.
Yeah, I talk to babies the
So,
same way I talk to the cat.
Yeah.
I've been watching Killing Eve, and the
Mhm.
episode I just finished, the killer assassin lady decided to steal her victim's baby after she murdered a person.
As
And
one
her
does.
boss is just like, "Why the fuck did you steal this baby?" And the assassin's like, "It's funny." And so then her boss just picks the baby up and throws it in the trash in like the park.
Wow.
So someone can find it later. And then they have a
Wow.
serious conversation about the assassin like fucking up on her job and not being careful enough. And this in the background, there's someone discovering the baby and everyone being
God.
like a crowd gathering around the park with like, "Why is there a baby in the trash?" Like,
Yeah.
Killing Eve's a great show.
I have heard this. I haven't had a chance to look, but I have heard this.
Yeah,
fucking
I got a huge kick out of the truth. Why did you steal this baby? Because it's funny. And then we're gonna just throw this baby in the trash.
I've been spending a disproportionate amount of my time watching a person who was in a documentary I watched decades and decades ago. Well, maybe 1 decade ago. But there is a it's an HBO documentary called Black Tar Heroin: The Dark End of the Street. And it takes place in San Francisco and it follows a group of like 20 somethings who all have predictably horrific personal stories, except for a couple of them. A couple of them are just kind of like dabblers, but they are the subject of this documentary film and they're just sort of discussing their lives and how terrible their lives are. And on a whim, I decided to look for them and I found one of them. And I'm kind of amazed she's still alive, but she's there. And now I follow her YouTube and I've been just kind of like going through it and she seems fine. She's gotten married and she has 2 kids and she got a
Like,
master's
what does this
degree.
have to do with throwing babies in the trash?
I just want to say
Yeah, I'm kind of confused.
this is what I watch instead of TV. I watch real people who who do strange
I
things
mean, you
on
can
the
watch
internet.
that on TV too. It's called reality TV.
Nope. That is where we will permanently disagree. No, reality TV is garbage.
Okay, reality TV is heavily scripted. What you're
Yes.
watching is lightly scripted. And I find it interesting that you watch that kind of stuff because I lived through that kind of stuff and find it
Yeah.
repugnant.
No, I watch all kinds of air quotes reality stuff. Also, I'd like to take this moment, speaking of the reality stuff I enjoy on the internet, if we could have a moment of silence for one of my favorite people. Samantha James, Cookie Tookie, recently succumbed to COVID, and that genuinely sucks because I genuinely enjoyed her. Okay, thank you.
Anyway, I just got a real kick out of the baby being thrown in the trash.
I only know that name because like 10 years ago I finally had to put my foot down and say, Spike, stop sending me videos of this person. Please, I don't know what to do with this. I don't think it's interesting or funny. It kind of makes me sad sometimes. You must stop.
Oh god, I fucking loved Cookie Tookie. Look,
I
for
find
folks,
it bizarre. I have such a different YouTube experience from you.
yeah, honestly, I think what
Not
helps
that
that
much, I would say, but it's so different.
is, and I think we can all, none of us can deny we're all like fucking tracked as hell online. And when you start looking at certain things, you're fed other things, and it's easier to
I
go.
know how the algorithm works, Spike.
Yeah, you can go deeper and deeper in the rabbit hole. So, which is why I will occasionally have these experiences where I'll be watching something and going, man, I really love this. But I bet everyone's seen it because every time I load up YouTube, it's recommending me something from this person's channel. But then when I do decide to share it, someone's just like, what the fuck? Like, where do you even find this? It's like YouTube showed it to me. But yeah, Cookie
God.
Cookie Tookie was a sex worker and a big name in the ballroom scene, and also a comedian, and also seemed to compulsively start drama. And also, she, at the time of her death, I believe I was never super clear. She was either training to be a mortician or she was a mortician and looking for actual work in a funeral home, because for a significant period, she was very proud of herself because she was talking about how she was going to be a trans mortician for the trans community. And when she opened her funeral home, everybody could come to her and expect to be treated with respect and reverence that they could not expect from funeral homes run by cis people, and so on and so forth. But she would simultaneously upload content like that, and then upload content talking about, okay, who's going to get me some Mother's Day dick? This mortician needs some Mother's Day dick.
Right, but what does this have to do with babies being thrown in the trash?
It's what I enjoy watching. That's what Kel enjoys watching.
Oh, okay.
Babies getting thrown in the trash.
Mhm.
I question the company I keep every day.
You should. We're well rounded.
I remember I cracked a lot of people up because they were discussing. So the person I was talking to was like, whenever someone hands me a baby, I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I'm like, I know what you're supposed to do with this. You throw it in the dumpster.
Just Kel things.
I'm so pissed that
Yeah.
there are people who have to have this conversation. No one's handing me baby.
I can
I'm
give
right-
you a baby if you want one.
Cool.
Does it have to be alive?
Yes.
Oh. Well, that'll be harder.
I adore babies, and no one's handing me any babies.
I
I'm
know
right
where you can
here.
get I know where you could
There's
get
so
them.
many babies. Just pick one out of a
I'm
stroller. My
right
God.
here. All my friends who love babies are constantly sounds like they're getting handed babies, and here I am. That arm's empty.
I know where you can get some fetal skulls, but that's probably not the same thing, huh?
You know, y'all keep making the same
No.
I
joke.
just asked if it needed to be a live, Spike. Keep up
Y'all
with the
keep-
conversation.
Y'all keep making the same joke. Doesn't make me laugh. Mostly makes me sad.
Maybe we can
None
save
of
up
the
and get you one of
babies
those real
getting thrown
babies.
in the trash. None of the babies getting thrown in the trash and my jokes are dead. It's just funny to put babies in the garbage.
Yes, I agree. And then in a
Agree.
comedy scenario where you assume the baby will be rescued from the garbage, it is extremely funny to dunk on a baby and put it in the garbage.
Okay, I'm just making a mental note, Amanda, to never recommend a YouTube channel I watch these days called Misery Machine, because it would make you so fucking sad.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it probably lives up to its title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Misery Machine gets fucking heavy. But it's one of those channels that got recommended because for a while YouTube was all like, you clearly want to see every true crime channel. It's just like bam, 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 bam. And it's like here's the thing. Okay. True crime shit is fascinating to me on like multiple levels, not because OMG aren't serial killers sexy, but because there's clearly this sort of impulse that predates the internet, by the way. So people act like this is like an internet thing. Like, no, when people became literate on a mass scale, one of the most popular genres from that moment forward was true crime. Like they're called penny dreadfuls for a reason. People have been
Mhm.
shit since forever. But what's kind of fascinating to me is nowadays cameras are everywhere. They're inescapable. So there's a camera in the interrogation room. There's a camera on the cop. There are probably cameras on the premises. And so it seems easier for true crime content to exist. And the debate seems to have moved to like, what is the most moral way to present this information? Because every once in a while you'll get kind of the box of wine chipper housewife approach that feels real bad when you listen to it. Like, hello, my crime cupcakes. Today we're going to talk about the shooting of, like, no, maybe not like that. And YouTube seems to have settled on really dispassionate, toneless narration and sort of body language analysis of
I
interrogation.
can't listen to that type of narration. It makes my skin crawl.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, I can't watch videos at like 1.5 speed. The way that the noises. Ugh.
Also,
thank
a
you.
lot of
No,
those
thank you.
narrators are like walking that fine line between like a TV narrator and the McDonald's Burger King foot lettuce guy.
It's the ones that edit out the pauses between their sentences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
that seems really over edited to me when people do
it
that.
sounds
It's like,
bad.
settle down, you know. You can speak in a normal timbre, it's all right.
Right?
Yeah.
I will also say, I like watching those kind of ones where they do like the body analysis because it's interesting and it's something to listen to. But it is very much bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, pseudoscience to the max.
It is like people act like, oh, there's actually a really good video. I was like, yes, I feel vindicated. Go watch this bitch. Well, no, I meant bitch lovingly.
Yeah.
That was an affectionate bitch. I'm very sorry.
Oh, stop.
I think their name's Moon Cat.
Mune Cat.
Yes. She did a video about how body language analysis is pseudoscience and bullshit, and I was like, bless. Thank you. Because it's like, oh my god, just the thing like this is how you can tell this person's annoying. Like the thing that
I feel like The Mentalist ruined it for a lot of people.
Well, no, it's not. It's just because it's bullshit. And like, for example, they do the thing, and I could never articulate why it was shitty. And I did like but like it was like, oh, thank God, go watch this smart lady who actually knows how to make words good. And basically, the thing that always bugs me is the fucking establishing a baseline thing. It's like you can't establish a baseline for something because like
I'm also terrible at eye contact, so apparently I'm just a monster.
Yeah. Well, also they're like, okay, because now here's their baseline when you're not asking them any questions with high stakes. Okay, now ask them a bunch of high stakes questions. Oh no, they're acting different than their baseline. Well, of course they're acting different than their baseline.
Yeah, what you're talking about, by the way, is the REID technique, and it's spelled REID, and it's notorious for producing what has been described as an unacceptably high rate of false confessions. And it's because it's so systematic, and it's so kind of like, it has found all the backdoor entrances and weaknesses in the human psyche, and it's very procedural that way, and just bam, 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 and it'll break anybody down. One of my favorite examples of the REID technique in action is when a bunch of cops got like a teenage boy to confess to the murder of his missing little brother, and the little brother wasn't dead. And it's like, it's on camera. They have his confession, him saying, yes, I did it, I killed him, and the cops just going like, okay, give us details, how, tell the truth, blah blah blah. And the kid's like sitting there, you see him basically being led by the hand through this false confession, and the kid's not dead. The kid is just like, he shows up like a day later after his big brother has been booked into jail for murder of him. Fucking wild.
I mean, it's not as serious, but I did that sort of stuff when I was a kid where I would just blatantly lie as long as it was what the adult wanted to hear.
Yeah, that is a common factor of children just in general. Children will say things because they want to please adults.
Oh, yeah.
And why I think rightfully, in my opinion, I already have my issues when it comes to eyewitness accounts in courtroom settings. But I think
completely unreliable.
Oh, utterly, completely, totally. And the problem with unreliable memories is if someone grabs your purse and the cops go, okay, can you describe them? And you're kind of like unsure because you barely saw them. You're like, I think they were wearing a pink t-shirt and I think they had dark brown hair.
To be fair, I always thought eyewitness statements were bullshit because I have ADHD. I don't know what I look like half the day.
But like,
where am I?
The more you actually say something out loud as a statement of fact to other people, the more sure your brain becomes that it's
it warps your memories.
Yeah, so that's why eyewitness kind of bullshit. But yeah,
with kids it's especially bullshit because like my favorite shit is like whenever you get like transcripts and recordings from when they were like interviewing kids during like that one of the big satanic panic things, it's so fucking funny. It just reeks of, do y'all not interact with children? Do y'all not know how children do? Because they're like, and then what happened? And the kid just goes, oh shit, let me and then their heads get chopped off. And then what happens? And then we throw them in the lava. It's like, yeah, that is a kid. That's what a kid do. You sent them on imagination. They're like, oh, cool. I can't keep going. Well, then we eat the babies. You know, it's like.
I mean, how is that any different from improv? It's just like, and like, yes, and.
Exactly. And they just like, that's the thing. The satanic panic, like the McMurray Elementary School scandal, that was 9,000% children wanting to please adults. And they just let the kid go. And the thing is, if you're sitting there encouraging the child to tell you a story, especially the age of a kid at the age of whoever's going to a fucking preschool, they're gonna just let you, the things that people don't actually fucking remember or realize. These kids were talking about animal sacrifices of giraffes.
Yeah.
And their teachers cut them up and flush them down the toilet. Like them, the kids sitting there. My teacher cut me up and really? And they just fucking let these kids just tell whatever story they want because the kids are being encouraged. And they didn't have any concept, any kind of grasp of what they were saying. And that's what, I mean, kids are especially bad, but eyewitness account is not the fucking clincher for me. It's just not. The human brain sucks. It sucks.
God, I love when kids are in that phase where they've learned to talk. They're very good conversationalists. They have no idea what they're saying. Like, you'll be doing the dishes, and a kid walks into the room, and you're just like, hey, how's it going? And then they're just like, the cat gave me a banana. I'm going to go get a race car. There's a man outside. Goodbye. And it's like, okay.
Yeah,
right,
their brains are still like puddingy and soft.
I'm sure that meant something, but okay.
I feel like dealing with kids at that stage is like walking onto the middle of a David Lynch movie. Like, I don't know what's happening. You guys are all talking about some really weird shit, but I'm just going to go along with it.
Yeah. There's some great footage out there. Amanda, I'm sure you've seen it. It seems right up your alley. Of these twins, baby twins. They are pre-verbal. So they're so young, they don't actually even have words yet. But they have sort of the flow of conversation down. So it's these two little babies just straight up in diapers, baby walking around a kitchen, air quotes, talking to one another. But what they're doing is going, oh yeah, and the other one's
why, that's why a lot of people talk about secret twin language. Really, it's just babies figuring out, like,
oh god, my favorite thing. Honest to God, if you ever see videos of this, please feel free to send it my way. Is when you see a little toddler that's not quite verbal, like they know words, but they don't know what words do yet.
Yeah.
And they are clearly watching the adults around them do stuff. So if you give them the opportunity, they will just repeat the shit the adults do. Like a little boy who like they hand him a phone and he just starts acting like how his dad must act on the phone. Or he like puffs up his chest and goes and starts like getting grumpy and goes, and just starts like grumping at the phone. He's just doing this pantomime of what his dad must be like on the phone. I love that shit. Or that there's like this TikTok of this like little boy who's getting underneath his like toy car and yelling at it and like doing like this almost sounds like he's cussing, but he doesn't know cuss words.
Yeah,
but he's seen someone get under a car and cuss
and start screaming. Yeah, the kids are fucking sponges. Oh my god, it's really cute. When I was in college,
weird.
When I was in college, one of the classes I had to take was a psychology class, and part of it was we actually needed to like do time in the on-campus daycare. So we were we were interacting with like 4-year-olds a lot, and they were like the children of administration and stuff. And one of my favorite things kids do is, Amanda, you were talking about this, they will just kind of like lift phrases adults say wholesale that sound super fucking weird coming out of a 4-year-old. So I'll be sitting there in the classroom and a 4-year-old who has just gotten done taking off her coat, for the day and putting it in her cubbyhole and has her hair in Minnie Mouse ears, it will just come over and be like, so how are you doing today, darling? Good? Because it's clear. I just heard adults say this to one another. This is how adults open conversation.
My favorite part about that, and I'm sorry if we're dwelling on the things kids do. I love.
Yeah, I'm not.
subject.
I don't have much to add to this kid conversation.
I'm sorry, but my favorite thing is they'll do that, but if you try to extend the conversation beyond that, they just are like,
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Fall-
I'm sorry.
fall
I
apart.
only learned this one phrase. I can't help you
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
should note here that like I love this shit about kids. I think it's cute. Simultaneously exists within me no desire to ever have my own or raise one.
Oh gosh, I was
I
talking to
mean,
a friend.
I think developmental stuff is super cool, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
fought to get my tubes taken out for 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly
I
sad
had
that I'm not
recurring
a.
nightmares as a kid that I would throw babies downstairs. Like I saw Train Spotting, and I was like, "That's what babies are like."
I am constantly the oddball out in almost all my friends group because I'm the one who's like super bummed I haven't had a kid yet.
Oh, well, there's still plenty of time. Unlike for
not.
me. Oh, stop it.
I have a cat. He's the size of a baby.
He screams like a child.
I do have
He
a friend.
certainly
I
does.
do have a friend who's like has a job working with kids. They're like, they don't want to do it, and they're like, I was like, oh, I would love that kind of job. Oh, they're like, oh, but all you really do is just keep the kids occupied. And I was like, that's it. That's literally my dream job is to distract children for an hour.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's my personal hell.
Yeah. I don't want to be responsible for another life in that way. I have the sort of self-awareness to know I'm incredibly ambitious and self-absorbed, and I have goals in life where if I fell pregnant today, to use the British terminology, I would probably have a long hard think if I had it, but I would not
mean-
intentionally fall pregnant. And I have never, that's not something I've ever seeked out. I
I
just
will
don't want
say,
to.
I also have the ambition drive to not have kids. But I also don't like the body horror behind kids.
Yeah.
It literally changes your DNA permanentment,
Oh,
and I won't have that. I
How
watched
so?
Alien at way too young an age, and you cannot tell me that a 9-month baby moving, where you can see it moving from the outside? No.
Yeah.
I'm not having a parasite destroying my body, and then it just shits itself out and then it doesn't love you. I have a cat. I have a cat. At least the cat I can hold against its will and it'll still love me. You do that with a baby, they take it away from you.
Yeah. I have to say, probably a big influence on me is
I mean, you hope they take it away from, but they won't.
Well,
my parents were very disinterested, and I had the kind of parents, and this is the kind of thing I've actually had to work on in myself when I
girl,
interact
at least you have parents.
when I interact with other people, that literally every reaction they had to any interaction we had was annoyance. So for like multiple years of my young adulthood, my reaction to anybody younger than me was like pointed, what? Like what? And it's just
I
like,
didn't
oh,
have
shit,
anybody
that's what
younger
that
than me within like 5 miles.
So
Girl.
they did not exactly model, fulfilling parenthood for me.
Same. My parents, you've heard, my parents were
Awful.
garbage, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Welcome to the
that's
Garbage Parents Club.
maybe that I had a different reaction. I think my reaction is kind of more. I want to have a go at this and do it right. I've seen it done wrong. I'd like to have a family that's nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I can make
found
it.
out. Yeah. I thought it was interesting. Before I moved away from where my dad lives, he used to get really drunk and spill adult secrets at me, which is fun.
Oh no.
And he told me that when he remarried, they thought about trying to have a kid together. And I laughed and I said, wow, I'm really glad you didn't. And my dad looked me dead in the eye and said, yeah, we were really worried you probably would have killed it.
Wow.
To be fair, at the time, I probably would have.
That's kind of Did you know? All right.
Not by purpose. I would have like cuckoo's nest, suffocated it, like stop screaming, God, stop making noise.
There is actually, this is me taking it way the fuck back here, so no one's going to know what I'm talking about. But there was a small press comic. Well, maybe if Rafer's listening, he knows. There was a small press comic back in the day called Murder Can Be Fun. And it was based on a zine. And I think there were like 6 issues of Murder Can Be Fun. And one of them was about child killers, like children who kill. And
you have to be specific, because there are people who kill children and there are children who kill people.
Yeah, this one's specifically about children who kill. And what I liked about it is it didn't obsess over like the 3 modern day ones everyone knows about. It went back in like the annals of Victorian crime registers and talked about a little boy who didn't like either the nanny or the baby, and when the nanny's back was turned, he just pushed a baby carriage into the Thames with like his little sibling in it. And
I'd have done it.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things where I think people sometimes, there's a sanitation and a sacralization, that's not a word, but of both children and parenthood. Yeah, and it's so fucking insincere, because the thing about kids is they're fucking all id.
They're awful.
Raising children is training them to control their id, and people have varying levels of success.
I've been told that I'm by at least a couple of people that I remind them of Tyler Durden from Fight Club. I don't know if that's good or bad.
If anyone else had said that to me right now, I would be making the biggest jerking off motion ever.
I mean, if a dude told me that, I would go the other direction.
Yeah. That's like, I'm basically
the first time somebody said it, I laughed and I was like, wait, are you trying to hit on me? Because that's not very good. And they were like, no, you're just really ballsy for a chick. And I was like, oh, okay, fella, we're done.
This is, all right, just for everyone else's sake, this is a thing I think I've shared with everyone here, and they're all like, shut up. But for folks who don't know, there is a fantastic subreddit called Joker Cringe. So if you go,
like, why?
I love that shit.
If you go to r/Joker Cringe, it's full of like your uncle's Facebook memes, and like it's so bad. It's
just an updated version of I'm 14 and deep.
Yeah. Basically, it's just like, imagine, you know, the Joker. It's never Jack Nicholson Joker. I've noticed. I guess he's not like pointlessly badass enough for these people.
He's very, very like whimsical murder rather than what these guys want to be.
He leaned into the clown aspect a lot more.
Too much clown,
I feel like
not
the
enough
kids who are
society.
posting on that don't even watch the old Batman movies.
There's a clown and we live in a society balance that must be there for these people.
Yeah, exactly.
Hot, crazy injects for kids.
Yeah, and it's just like, so you'll see a lot of like, they like, you know how I got these scars. They like that Joker.
Yeah.
And they like, we live in a society. We live in a society Joker. And every once in a while, shockingly, they like Jared Leto Joker, which I think is just the strangest one of them all.
My favorite is when that crosses over with the financial motivation scene. So you get Heath Ledger Joker with text about how like women keep you down and will keep you from getting a fancy car. What does this have to do with the Joker?
Exactly.
It is basically the equivalent of like the Minion memes, or someone posts a Wile E. Coyote picture next to, wow, sometimes I hate my children.
And just they're so I'm like scrolling through it right now, and I'm looking for my favorite shit where someone found like a Joker filter on, I guess this would have to be Snapchat, and just going, found this filter, it fits me perfectly, I figured it's something you'd really want to see. And it's just them sitting on the bed with this like fucking it's so bad.
I really feel like your Joker Cringe love, like, when I lived in a rural area during the pandemic, during the height of it, there was a lot of those like, do you ever wonder what happens to the "rawr means I love you" in Dinosaur Girls when they grow up and have kids?
Oh god.
They put those stickers on the back of their car where it's like, I'm a Sally who found my Jack, and then all of their kids are like little Marvel superheroes.
Yep.
That's what you're talking about. The girls that we went to high school with who are like, OMG, so quirky. Rawr. Yeah,
I'm
they
not like-
procreated with those Joker cringe guys.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
had
like
Here's the
little
thing.
Shaylas.
I think the Joker cringe guys are infinitely funnier because even with those raw XD
Agreed.
girls who grew up, there's a level of isn't this silly? With those guys, they're like, I am, and that's inherently
Yeah.
funnier.
Yeah, every once in a while, this sounds terrible, but it's fucking who I am, so I'm gonna say it. Every once in a while, there will be a protagonist or antagonist in a really, really popular piece of media, and there will be a certain kind of guy who describes them as basically me, and it's like, congratulations
It me
on
for real.
congratulations on publicizing. You have completely missed the point of that character. It's
I feel
no,
like there's a lot of those, like, if you identify with this character, that's a red flag.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm basically Tyler Durden. I'm basically the Joker when you think about it. I'm
Hey,
basically
have you guys ever heard of this show called Breaking Bad? It's pretty good.
I'm basically that guy. I mean, like no one appreciates him, and then he gets his sweet revenge. I'm basically him. Like, okay, sure.
Well, you know, if you Kel, I really think I'm like a Don Draper type, you know? I really see myself in him.
Hey, you know who else looks up to John Draper?
Tell
Who?
me.
Pete Campbell.
God bless Pete Campbell.
No, here's the thing. Liking Pete Campbell. If someone asks
This is
you
not
why
a
you
Mad
like
Men
Pete
discussion.
Campbell,
You're
you
welcome.
just go because he's a horrible little turd. And
I love him.
Yeah.
absolutely get that. I absolutely get
That
that.
Vincent Kartheiser knows how punchable his face is and leans into it. Like, I didn't think he could be more of a shit than he was on Angel, but my God.
I
Well,
absolutely get
he
the
was-
love for
he-
little turd characters.
He was badly written on Angel, on top of
He
having a
was.
punchable face.
He's also a baby. Bless his heart.
Yeah, he was a child. But yeah, no, I don't think that whole, like, because if on a dating website a guy says his favorite movie is Fight Club or The Joker or one of those other you miss the
I
point
feel like
movies,
they know not to say that now.
I think, like, I don't think that in of itself is a red flag because they might be like,
gotta-
well, it's
gotta
like
buy.
really well cinematography and like blah blah blah. Like, whereas for me, the biggest red flag when it comes to movies is if someone tells me their favorite director is Woody Allen.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm gonna like nope out of talking to that person completely.
Yeah,
Yo,
it's,
I liked Manhattan. Oh, no thank you.
yeah. I genuinely think it's a little overblown on the internet. Like people really leaning to, oh, you like that media? You're genuinely a bad person. I think that's a little overblown. But in the case of Woody Allen, no,
this is
it's not at all. Not at all.
This is why I say them saying it is their favorite. Like, if they like Woody Allen, that's his movies aren't very good, but like, and he's a creep and a pedophile.
Yeah.
But when someone says it's their favorite director, like that means you think all other directors are not as good as this director.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and I also like Woody Allen was one of those people. There's a big long list now, obviously, but sort of was one of those people who was on a list of air quotes great creatives who was part of my awakening that
Right, but I
when
feel like Woody Allen
society-
was very much like an older Gen Xer awakening, and I feel like if you have Woody Allen on your list, then you get made fun of because of how basic a choice that is and how uninformed a choice that is.
Well,
Yeah, what I was saying
here's the
before
thing-
though
oh.
is that he was part of this like awakening. It's like, oh, these lists of air quotes all-time greats. These are just lists made by people, and those people have certain demographic check boxes. And if
I mean, you can basically
read
put
or
everyone who was
watch
a Miramax creator in the early 90s.
if I read or watch this content and it doesn't resonate with me, or I just genuinely don't like it and don't see what people see in it, it's not because I quote don't get it or quote don't have taste. It's because this is made for a very specific person who has decided their own tastes are universal. So
Well, see,
Yeah,
here's
all
the other
white
thing, and
guys.
this is the other reason why Woody Allen in particular, because other problematic directors who have done shitty things usually have a wide variety of movies, like Roman
All of his movies
Polanski.
are ugh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like Roman Polanski made Rosemary's Baby, but also made like The Pianist, and so there's like
And he still
they're
raped
not
that
all
girl.
the same. Um,
Mhm.
but Woody Allen just tells a story about awkward middle-aged guy fucks a young girl, and that is like every Woody Allen
Yeah.
movie. And
Yeah.
It's fun too because you can see him get younger as he gets older. Because in Annie
Yeah.
Hall, they're almost the same age. By the time he gets to like Manhattan or fucking whatever and her sisters, he's having sex with like 20-year-olds. It's
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah, it kind of it's in line with that classic Hollywood thing where as leading men age, their leading women counterparts just stay
Mhm.
the same age, and it's like super fucking gross. And again, it's part of that whole sort of thing that there's so many facets to this shit. That whole thing where there are people who kind of don't want that questioned and react very aggressively if you dare to notice.
This is another subject where I
I
do not know what y'all are talking about.
Well, no, there are people who
No, I mean the
are
subject.
huh?
Woody Allen. I've
in
never seen a
movies,
Woody Allen
yeah,
movie.
Oh no, I'm not talking about Woody
uh,
Allen at this point. I'm just talking about the sort of
That's what I was talking
universalization
about.
of the white male cis case set. And of course, nobody is monolith, including white male cis men. And there are going to be white male cis men who are like, that shit doesn't resonate with me either. I acknowledge that. That's absolutely true. But the idea that this specific set of interests and aesthetics and preferences that everyone else should also be into it. And the way it was presented that way for at least half of my life, that this is the true good media, this is the true good book, these are the true good creators, this is the true good movies. And if you don't like it, I guess you just don't know how to like movies. And part of my awakening of like, oh wait, this is total bullshit were two things: Catcher in the Rye and Woody Allen, both of which I bounced off super fucking hard. And I was like, I wonder why I don't get this, because everyone is telling me this stuff is supposed to be so good and so deep. But no, it wasn't everyone. It was a specific subset of people who maybe have a better chance
uh,
that resonate with them than me,
I I think
universalizing their
that
experiences.
yeah, I think my English teacher presented Catcher in the Rye to us the exact correct way that you should present Catcher in the Rye. Because before we started reading it, he handed out a sheet that was a 10-second summary of Catcher in the Rye,
Mhm.
Nice.
which is Ank swear curse, Ank swear curse, Ank swear curse. Everyone's a phony and I'm a stupid jerk. Ank swear curse.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and I feel like that set the correct expectation for reading Catcher in the Rye.
Mhm. Yeah, I just read it after being, having it gassed up to me where it's like, oh yeah, it's one of the great American novels, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And I was reading, I'm like, this is bullshit, and this character is bullshit, and this is going nowhere. What is the point of this?
Also, I tweeted this one day, but I also accidentally found out my English teacher's thesis was on Catcher in the Rye,
Mhm.
because one of the exercises in class is he had every student get up and write an adjective that describes the main character on the board, and you
Mhm.
couldn't repeat what someone else had already wrote. And I was one of the last few people to go, so all the obvious ones were written. And then I wrote gay, and then the person after me thought I meant gay as in stupid, and then started to erase it, and the teacher stopped them
Mhm.
and then said, "Carol, can you please explain why you think why you wrote gay?" And then I pointed out that he always talks about how hot dudes are, but doesn't describe any of the women. He could not fuck the prostitute in the story.
Mhm.
And also, there is the part where they talk to his like brother's friend or his friend, who says like, yeah, a lot of people it turns out are gay and don't realize that they're gay. And I was like, so he's gay, it doesn't know it. And then apparently my English teacher wrote his thesis on the homoerotic subtext in Catcher in the Rye.
Wow.
So you were their favorite.
Wow. Yeah, so they were sitting there going, this one gets it.
Yeah.
At least one of them got it.
Speaking of people who don't know they're gay, there's a movie I super, super enjoy, and I think it's my favorite thing Patton Oswalt has ever been in. If you folks have never
Mhm.
seen it, it's kind of dated, so it's probably easy to find. It's called Big Fan, and it is about a New York Giants super fan, like a guy who is super, super into the Giants. And he is kind of a loser in his private life. You know, he hasn't accomplished a lot. He spends all his time listening to radio talk show. He's kind of his big identity thing is he's a regular caller into this sports talk show, and he has a moniker. Like he's Paul from Staten Island, and he goes on these big long tears about supporting the Giants. And there is a moment where he follows his like super favorite player, his super favorite Giants player. He like runs across him randomly and he's like, oh fuck. And he starts following him and he follows him into a strip club. And of course, since this guy's a big football player, like all the dancers are all over him. And while he is sitting in the strip club, staring at this, just he can't look away from this big muscular quarterback. Obviously, since he's in a strip club and it is a place of commerce, a dancer comes up to him and starts giving him the line where she's all like, hey, so you want to dance? You want to buy me a drink? Da, da, da. And it's like a cartoon. He's just like fucking shoving her out of the way. And then someone else is
Have you
kind
ever
of
been at a strip club, Spike?
trying to like dance on him and like wave her butt in his face in his face and just giving him the whole show. And he's not even fucking looking at her. And he's just staring at Quantrell the entire time. And in that movie, it's never like kind of openly said, but you're like, oh.
To be fair, I also saw that movie when it came
Yeah.
out, and I never got homoerotic overtones from that. I
Oh,
got
really?
pure obsession over the character.
Oh,
It's
obsession, definitely.
it's past sexualization. He
Mhm.
has obsessed this character into a godlike figure
Yeah.
and is just enraptured by him in a way that he cannot be interrupted from the outside.
Yeah, he's got real
You
big.
cannot be tempted by these mortal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
2009.
I'm gay and you're straight, so I find that interesting.
Yeah, but it's
The
the
straight
thing
person saw the gay person didn't.
yeah, the thing that really made me go, "Oh, he's gay," is that it wasn't just he got the male gaze shot. Quantrell Bishop, the football player character, got the male gaze shot, which is like the slow
I wonder if they
pan
shot
up
it that
his
way to make
body.
the male audience uncomfortable and to put
That
that
would be cool
implication in
if
their
they
head.
did that. That would be cool if they did that. But that is because the male gaze shot is like the thing when you notice it, it's FedEx arrowed into your brain. You can't not notice it ever again.
Oh, you know what I learned recently? In old Star Trek, whenever there was like a pretty lady that was supposed to be attractive, they put Vaseline on the lens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I
It's
didn't know that
because
until
the-
recently.
They did that at
So-
the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race too. The sets
So
were
sometimes
really
it isn't
bottom.
actually Vaseline, sometimes it's actually KY jelly, but typically what they do with the Vaseline on the lens is to just smudge it lightly. It's not like they take like a spackle and, trowel it on there.
Mhm.
It's just a slight smudge on the lens so that you get a little bit more lens flare and you get a little bit more softness on the flesh tones.
It's not really for lens flare. It's mostly there's two reasons. One, if you slather it on, you get a dreamy effect. Two, if you
Yeah.
don't do it very heavy, you get a diffusion effect, and diffusion is
That's the
extremely
one.
good for covering up blemishes. It's kind of like
Mhm.
the
Thank you,
lo-fi
Amanda.
way to make everyone a little less crisp and a little softer, and it blends blemishes, and it just makes everyone look a little prettier.
Before there were digital filters, there was Vaseline.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, there are filters you can buy for a camera that like you screw it
Like
onto,
gels and that sort of thing.
it's I think Black Mist is a really popular one where it is actually very, very fine black particulates on a lens filter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it causes diffusion without doing the same kind of there's ways that lights can be diffused that cause like a blurriness, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And the
Uh-huh.
black mist kind of avoids that, so it creates more of like a very, very, very faint glow depending on like the density of it. It's really neat. Also, you can do
That's
the same
cool.
thing with like black spray paint and mist it onto a lens UV filter. I did that. I have It's very fun to play with.
Yeah.
Science is fun.
Yay!
But yeah, everyone should watch Big Fan. It's real good. Because I mean, that's not the whole plot. He eventually fucks up. The thing is, even though he's like a super fan of the New York Giants, he actually gets attacked by Quantrell in the strip club because he's being a fucking creep. He's following this random dude around, and
Don't
because
spoil it for folks who haven't seen it.
yeah, but that's the inciting incident, I think, is what they call it in storytelling. So
Yeah.
that's real good shit. It's good. It's just good shit. It's good shit. And
Every
I've been
time someone tells me stuff like that, I like, oh, this character's clearly gay. I now take that with so many grains of salt
Oh, same.
because
I
like,
Well, like I was saying, the straight sees it, but the gay doesn't.
like
well, it's the male gaze shot that clinched it for me. And
Okay.
again, I think it's super important to note it's never like confirmed or denied. It's just one of those things that's strictly up to interpretation, and that is how I chose to interpret it.
Mhm.
right. No, I'm just saying, like, I've now like become wary because almost every time I'm like, this wasn't.
Yeah, because
I've been lied to. It got to the point where I mentioned
Yeah.
before where Kel told me gave me that summary of Interview with a Vampire. It's like, yeah, it's about a married couple trying to make it work by having a kid. I'm like, haha, that's funny. Then it's like, oh no,
that is what it is.
100%. That is what it
it's
is.
the plot. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to fix their marriage by having a kid.
And the Scott is
I
exactly
do like
the
that they
dumb
aged
fucker.
Claudia up though now.
Yeah.
Oh no! In the new TV show, the reporter flat out says having a kid to save your marriage, not a good
Oh,
move.
bless.
Like he flat out says that.
I thought it was interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a journalist, and they mentioned that the way that the journalist is written in the TV series, someone knows a journalist, or like it's very realistic to true life.
Mm.
I
I think
think
that's
I
neat.
think it's also I really like the journalist character in the new Interview with the Vampire TV show because he has a lot of bits like where he says shit like oh, having a kid to save the relationship, not a good move. Or there's a part where Louis talks about Lestat being shitty to him, and the reporter very dryly goes, officer, I swear he only hit me the one time. And
Everybody knows that they're gay disasters except for them.
yeah.
Lestat is exactly the motherfucker who would try to have a kid to save the relationship, though.
I mean, that's exactly what they're doing. So,
yeah, it's like that's exactly the personality profile that would think, what would make this better? A child.
I got you a
Yeah.
present. It's
Yeah.
a human.
I read my copy of Vampire Lestat till the binding fell off. Man, I was an Anne Rice queer in high school.
See, I enjoyed the movie version of Interview for a Vampire.
It was very silly.
It was extremely silly.
I wanted to have sex with all of the people in that movie, every one of them.
I really liked Brad Pitt like eating rats and chickens because he didn't want to kill people. I thought that was,
it's very messy, Brad Pitt.
Yeah, but I also really like. There's that one scene where they decide they're gonna go out and get like a mom for the little kid.
Yeah.
And and the poor mom, I felt for her because she lasted like 3 seconds. I don't know if it's the same in the book, but in the movie, she gets turned.
No, that is the same in the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it
goes just as badly.
She gets incinerated by the sun like 3 seconds after she attains immortality.
Yeah, Theater of the Vampire. That's my favorite part.
Because Armand doesn't want to share.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Armand, I wouldn't either. Hello. Get rid of your messy ex. Don't call me girl.
So Andrea, you read the books, you said, as a teen.
I read the first 3 and half into Body Thief until I just couldn't take her describing him taking big juicy shits any longer.
Ew.
What?
Yeah, so Body Thief, Lestat manages to find somebody to swap bodies with him so he can experience being human again because he misses it. And then there's a whole fucking chapter about how gross it is to have a human body and to feed it and have to take shits.
I guess he forgot.
Like, I already know that shit. I don't need a reminder.
He did forget because it has been like 300 years since he had to deal with any of those things. But
sorry, you were saying.
So in the books, Armand and the reporter have the most toxic relationship. Like,
Oh boy,
Lestat
they do.
and Louis are messy disasters,
Everyone Armand has a relationship with. Armand's the
but like
messiest bitch.
Armand is just flat out an abuser. Like,
Yeah.
and so
Not
him and the
healthy.
reporter hook up, and Armand is just like the biggest piece of shit, like, and horrible. And the reporter's just stuck with him. And but the reporter in the TV show is really old. I hope they still do that.
Oh
Like, I
yes,
hope
give me that
they
gilf.
have this messy disaster with the older reporter guy.
I want to see the gray hairs fuck.
I also want since you said you didn't read that far, I only know this because, like, when it got revealed, there was interviews with Anne Rice about it because it was such a fucking bizarre thing to suddenly add into Interview with the Vampire lore.
Are you talking about the Jesus book?
No, I'm talking about that vampirism is caused by nanomachines from ancient aliens that built Atlantis.
You know what? You know what? God bless Anne Rice. The only thing I hate about that bitch is her stance on fan fiction. Otherwise, bless.
So apparently that is a misunderstanding.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Because apparently it is because her publisher told her fan fiction will cut into the sales of her ebook sales or whatever.
So she had to get a little bit more.
So yeah, they were telling her to, like, take that stance because otherwise it was going to ruin the sales of her ebook or whatever. Because the book that she was releasing at the time was going to be ebook only or something like that.
That is so bizarre because, like, very, very few people are going to enjoy a fanfic without context.
Well,
that would only improve sales.
I can imagine that having fiction online that features your characters in the early days of ebooks, people didn't really know how the internet worked.
Oh yeah.
So if this is like early days of like downloading the ebook, I can see people being like, "Oh, we can't have any of these characters on the internet. That's digitally ours."
Yeah, and I've been trying to sort of temper my opinion on the internet about new developments in the creative space, specifically AI art, because I don't want to be too fogey, about it. But at the same time, I
won't watch a TikTok. I won't click an NFT. I don't know.
Yeah, at the same time, I see this for what it is, and I can't help but say I see it for what it is. It is capitalism once again trying to devalue people in the name of profit. And the only thing I have that comforts me about this, as someone pointed out, is this will inherently devalue the concept of the digital illustration because ease of access actually robs it of its significance. So in the future, these people who think that they are artists, which is like, that is honestly the most maddening part of this to me. Like the people who start describing themselves as artists because they gave AI a bunch of prompts and it stole some style from them.
I don't find that curious at all because I walked through several artist alleys and big ones like at New York Comic Con where people would have full tables of print walls where they basically took the silhouette of a character and threw a Photoshop filter on it.
Yeah.
This is nothing new.
Yeah, but that's maddening too. So it's all sort of, it's garbage. But at the same time, it's like this is going to, first of all, it's going to hurt illustrators.
Are we specifically talking about AI art right now?
Yes, we are.
I feel like we changed subjects, but we did not make it very clear.
Sorry, I'm kind of going where the wind takes me. But this is going to hurt people who subsist strictly off of illustration of a very specific kind, and that sucks.
Are you talking about like editorial illustrations?
Editorial illustrations, the kind of people who make their money, keep the lights on, doing things like sci-fi book covers, people who do Magic the Gathering illustrations, people who just do profile pics for indie RPG games, shit like that.
Well, I know a lot of folks who make their living off of doing like header images for like Motherboard or, Vox illustrations, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, again,
Yeah.
companies. Well, here's the other thing: is as a bummer as that is, companies might start to use AI art, but they're going to quit pretty quick, I think, because of the whole copyright issue. Like this is going to be
Yeah.
like companies,
Yeah.
as much as they would love to undercut artists and like get art cheap, they are not willing to put their ass on the line for this. I
Yeah.
just think that is going to be a
This-
problem.
I think the only companies that I think will successfully use AI art and continue to use it is something like where they own a big property and there's a lot of art of that property and they need to constantly be putting it out. So I think like
I can
when
see
it
AI
comes
art.
to comics, I think it's going to hurt work
I
for
agree.
hire property
I
comics the
agree.
most.
I agree.
Because like I already read a report about Disney is training their own in-house AI.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
like they're only giving it Disney things that Disney owns.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
own
see,
a
I feel
lot.
like with stuff like
So
that, so many companies have been getting flack for doing the make fan art of our shit, but for no money and we own it forever.
Yeah.
mhm.
They can cut that completely out of the equation by just creating AI art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah.
what I think they'll do.
For sure. I
And
think
those
yeah.
will be the ones that keep doing it because if they own all the copyright to the things they're feeding the AI program, they don't have to worry about getting
But
in
even
trouble
still, I think
copyright
it's
wise.
going to still have really limited applications. Like you mentioned comics, but like these programs are extremely bad at sequential art.
Oh, they're bad at
I
a
don't know
bunch
if
of
you've
stuff.
read some of the comics coming out these days, but I'm pretty sure a robot could write a better one at this point.
No, I don't think the writers are going to be robots. What I think is going to happen is the panels are going to be individually built in AI and then consolidated on the page, and then the actual writer is going to just superimpose. And I think that's going to be done in
because here's the problem.
The Marvel method.
No, here's the problem with AI right now, and that is going to be the constant problem with sequential art. Every single piece of art is an individual generation. You can do variations on some, but like it is extremely hard to, for example, let's say you get it to generate some kind of dystopian city and you really like it. Getting it to make that same image from a different angle is so
It's hard for humans.
Yeah.
Oh God,
for
tell me
humans.
So
about it.
I remember there was this one that was like, oh, this is just Zendaya.
Yeah, I remember that one.
But like even then, they clearly trained it on one person, which to be fair is smart, a recognizable person with tons of images. And even then, she could not look consistent because she, as a human, in every single photo you train, looks different. She has her hair worn different. She's in different lighting, different.
Her hands are constantly hidden or terrible.
I feel like that kind of turns into those photos where they layer a bunch of pictures on top of each other to create like what the mean is. Does that make sense?
I see. One of the reasons, actually, it's funny you should mention the Zendaya bullshit comic, Amanda, because one of the reasons I think that, there will still be writers is because I read that comic and it was so clearly by so fucking garbage, uninspired trash.
Well, also the moment you get writers involved is when the AI is really
And how many copies did it sell?
Exactly.
Because imagine you're the
how
writer.
Many copies did it sell?
And you're the writer. You're working with this AI generating artist or whatever we're gonna call them. You write your script. You send it to them. Then they send it back, and you go, "Okay, this panel's wrong. Change it slightly." And the person goes, "I can't do that."
Yeah, but at the same time, I can't help but sit there and like, no shade on anybody here who's got a really big spot in their heart for like monthly periodical, aka floppy type comics, but they now have a established reputation, in my opinion, of it's like, and when I say they, I mean the publishers of these comics. They have an established reputation of like, whatever, you'll buy it. So
Well, I find it interesting. Sorry, I find it interesting because there are already people whose job it is to fix the art once it's already out of the artist's hand.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
for a lot of the bigger, traditionally prose publishers, a lot of those comics are made assembly line, and they're
Yeah.
about one step off from AI.
No.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I disagree because again, AI is so fucking finicky. You will actually get the
True.
work done faster with the assent. That's my problem right now. AI art is so finicky and weird that you will honestly get better if you just underpay some artists who do this all the time.
Which is
Yeah. They're gonna move from paying people who are my fucking friends, you know, the people who have worked their way up. This is not like starting rates or anything. They're people who are getting like 500, 600 a page. They're gonna move from that model to finding some little kid they can easily convince you're lucky just to be working on these properties you love so much,
Well,
and pay them like $20 a page to touch up AI art.
I find it interesting because I'm a little bit more exposed to the superhero side of comics than I think you guys are. Because if you
Uh-huh.
look at a lot of the Marvel books specifically, you'll
Mhm.
notice a lot of the artists' names on them
Uh-huh.
are not traditionally English names. And I'm
Oh, yeah,
always
yeah.
happy to see that. But I worry that a lot of those kids are taken advantage of.
They are 100%. A lot of
Oh yeah, no,
mainstream creators in Marvel, DC, that kind of sphere, who are doing kind of what I'd call the grunt work on comics, like the pencils and the inks and the lettering. A lot of them are located in Central and South America, from what I've seen, because a dollar goes so fucking far there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well, I
they
mean,
can charge
there's always been
rates
a
that are
tradition of
cheaper.
Filipino comic artists.
Yeah, and they can charge a rate that is way cheaper by American standards and still live like fucking kings in their countries of origin. So,
Okay.
God, I wish that were
I-
me.
or at least comfortably, not necessily kings.
Yeah,
well, you know what I mean. They have a very comfortable
They'll pay
middle
their
class life.
bills.
Yeah.
I feel like this is maybe something like I'll have to. I really want to talk about this in depth, so I don't want to beat on this dead horse the whole time. Maybe I'll just do my own separate thing later while I talk about like how AI art is not the time saver. Like AI art generation has time saving capabilities. Like, I think mostly when you need a one-off thing. Like,
Yeah,
you need
so like I think. Oh, finish your thing, Amanda.
yeah, like you need a character design. You need one
Uh-huh.
singular illustration. But anything where you have to repeat results or be sequential, like you say, like, oh, well, they'll just hire like artists for cheap to touch it up. The problem is when you do AI art generation, you don't get like a layered file. You don't get like the character
Yeah.
separate from the background. It is all one
Yep.
thing, and like touching it up. Yeah, sounds like a simple thing, but some of these things like have such huge problems that like no, I don't think it's going to be that much of a time saver if you do it with anything like animation, like AI generating an animation. The people who are going to have to clean that up are going to do more cleanup job than a traditional cleanup artist would do. And the people who have to go and fix that comic so it makes like you can say, oh, they'll just shit stuff out, but like if it like
I mean, I know how much people charge to fix comics, and it's not worth it.
but that's what I'm saying. Like
So
it's not worth it to fix AI art. It will not be cost effective compared to just doing it the way they do now, which is already shitty.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I
So-
agree
I want to
completely.
note here. I have fucked around in Mid-Journey, so like I know
Ooh.
about the details of what generating AI art looks like and requires, and what spits out. And I am married to someone who we have had heated discussions about this because I'm an artist and he is a person, and I think this is a really interesting facet. He is a person who also attempted to develop artistic skill in his youth and decided, and I should note that I do not agree with this, but he decided he will never be good enough to render what he wants to render. And so he just stopped. And even before the advent of AI art, I had this argument with him for years that was, well, the only way to ensure you'll never be good enough is you stopped. And he's like, but no,
No,
So,
now that
no. You can hit a wall. If you're not talented, you can hit a wall.
You can hit a wall, that's possible, but the only way to make absolutely sure you will never be as good as you want to be
If you
is
take
to stop
professional
fucking
classes
doing
and the
it.
teacher says, "Wow, you really can't draw, huh, kiddo?"
Yeah,
Okay,
well, that, again,
Andrea,
that is possible. But what I'm saying is the only way to absolutely
in
make
that.
100% sure you aren't, you
And
don't
so
is to stop. And now he has gone very much in on Midjourney and really, really enjoys it and has a massive Midjourney gallery. And it's just a thing he literally does all throughout the day. And hearing his perspective on this, a person with no malicious intent who kind of feels he does have the thing that those assholes disingenuously argue for. He does finally have sort of access to an outlet to make the things he thinks about appear on a page in a way he could have never afforded and never engendered himself. Has been
so
interesting.
Personally,
when
I
I
feel that's
said
bullshit.
Mhm.
Because when I was a kid, I used clip art and I used stencils and I cut stuff out of books, but I never stole art from anybody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Okay.
interesting to hear him though.
Okay, Cal, what?
So when I was saying earlier about like Disney making their own in-house AI art,
Mhm.
like I meant more like, oh, we need a promo image for this princess thing that we're gonna put
Yeah.
out. So like, or we need a cover.
Yeah.
And so they're not gonna make like the final comics or the final animations with
Yeah.
it, but they are gonna devalue like this
Concept.
website needs an image that's all the princesses on it.
Right. A lot of
And
entry
rather
level
than pay a graphic designer to take all these assets and arrange them, we're going to have the AI do it.
I will be fair though, as
and-
somebody who had to commission those sorts of graphics for marketing purposes, a lot of times it is, can you just clip out these JPEGs I found on Google and lay them out in a nice way?
And by the way, I
So-
genuinely believe with all my heart we are headed for a period where if you want to work for the Spicy Mouse, in your contract at some point is going to be, just so you know, we're going to feed everything you make us to an AI so we can keep making it exactly this way.
I would like to.
It
And
can't
wait,
work
so,
for a
uh,
wait,
corporation.
I'll wait for
I'll
Cal to
die.
finish, but then I want to make 2 points.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I think like that's like where they're gonna go with their AI stuff. Like it is more for like we need a quick ad, we need like this
Mhm.
thing. And also as far as like while they may still realize, oh, we need actual artists to do these things to do it competently,
Mhm.
that the fact that AI is going to undercut artists to begin with will bring down the whole prices, because earlier a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago there was a translator who was talking about when machine translation started,
Yeah.
that basically
that,
made almost every single translation job unlivable.
Mhm.
Like because even though publishers eventually realized, oh, we do actually need a human translator, and machine translation is not going to cut it. It had still set the precedent of completely undercutting translation as an industry.
Yep.
So I think like that is more what the problem is going to be. I saw someone say the problem is not the technology, the problem is capitalism.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind
Problem
of
is
where
always
Matt comes from.
capitalism.
And that's the kind
Yeah.
of the angle Matt comes from too, because one of the things he shows me is the applications for this kind of shit that aren't like mired in exploitation. And one of them is he is probably one of the last 8 people on earth who follows a lot of role-playing blogs and tabletop gaming blogs. And before the advent of things like Midjourney and Dolly and stuff, they were just, they were just text entries, and that they were fine with that. They were never going to pay an artist to illustrate their blog entry. Like, people don't fucking do that.
Mhm.
But now when they update their blog, it's like, well, here is what I'm talking about. Here is the crocodile tinkerer in my new campaign that I'm experimenting with the build out for, and this is what he looks like. And were
have a
they ever going to
question.
commission an artist? No, they've been maintaining that blog for 10 years. They've never done that. But now art exists to make the entry a little more interesting.
I have a
Okay.
question regarding the system. Sorry, just real quickly. I know a lot of those AI systems take photos from like secure places. There was just one that got released that they were taking secure medical photos of people and adding them to their
Whoa.
database.
Yeah.
So I would recommend having Matt look at where exactly they source the photos from, because that's the real concern.
Yeah, I think that we are headed. One of the things I've been meaning to do for a while is I want to add to the Iron Circus submissions page that we do not accept anything that has any AI art whatsoever. Part of that is moral, but a bigger part of that is there is a lawsuit coming, and it's not going to be aimed at
Yeah.
me for
I
sure.
mean, there's a lot of folks in our slush pile that have badly traced art already. How is this
Poser
any
art.
different?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
got to be the new
So
poser art.
2
Sorry,
points.
Amanda, please go ahead.
I
Mhm.
also you don't use it anymore because I wandered away. I also was in the Midjourney Discord. I also used it. So I am an artist who also dabbled in Midjourney. So
Yeah.
I do not like, for example, I think it has utility and use. And here's the thing: it is genuinely fun.
Yeah,
It
it
is
is absolutely.
genuinely fun to sit and generate shit. Like for that, who
Mhm.
cares? Like, it's not hurting anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is fun to try to make it spit shit out. 2, I think it does have some uses as a helpful tool. For example, there are people with aphantasia who cannot visualize things in their head. It's very hard for them to sit down and visualize a new thing, and so sometimes they need a little like jump start on that. Like, so being able to type apple that's shaped like a star is extremely helpful. And I'm not saying they're
But
gonna.
I feel like you could also type that into Google.
Not always. Here's the thing: there's just some shit. Because here's the thing with Midjourney: you can tweak it. You can then say, "No, I want it to be like rendered 3-dimensionally. I don't want it to be like a 2D image." And like, there's just some things where it really helps you get exactly the thing you're looking for. But you don't take but then you wouldn't just take that image and copy paste it and work. It'd be like a reference. You know what I mean? It's very helpful because there are people who have aphantasia and cannot visualize things, and therefore if they want to like make something brand new that they have never seen before, it requires like a lot of research and a lot of like time that other people wouldn't have to do. So I think that's really an overlooked application that's really neat, but it's a tool.
That's so wild
It's
to
not
me.
something you would like. Again, oh, it generated me this 3-dimensional apple shaped like a star. I'm now gonna copy paste that and put it in my. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Like, I buy Barbies and I use them as models. I have like a made to move plus size Barbie. I use as an artist reference. It's a product. Someone else owns that Barbie. I'm not. I can't put the Barbie in my work, but it's still a tool. You know what I mean? So I think that's fine. Also,
there is actually, I want to make a quick recommendation too, talking about artists who are actually using 3D rendering and AI art in an interesting way. Unfortunately, this person has a very difficult name. Let me see if I can. Okay, here it is. All right, I found them. And this is their Twitter. If you want to go to this Twitter, sorry, that's not it. Let me put an R on the end. If you go to that Twitter, Stretch Wiener, you will find a artist I've been following for a while who describes themselves as a pop surrealist. And their feed is sort of nonstop AI art. I have no idea what generator they're using, but they're making some really extraordinary stuff. And their name is Wetterschneider. And it's fucking fun to see their shit because they're doing something other than hot, sexy anime girl giant titties, or something like, general painterly smudges everywhere.
I do really like that apparently it is impossible to get those giant titty anime ladies to eat noodles properly.
yes, it's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah. But the banality of the kind of person who thinks artistic talent is something you can just make an AI do really shows in the vast majority of the output of these things, in my opinion.
Okay,
I don't get the appeal, honestly. Like, I do pit crews when I'm bored and super high and it entertains me for about 5 minutes. I don't think I could sit there at an art AI and just feed it dumb ideas for a day. Sorry, Amanda, you were saying.
So this is my point directed to you. Now, it is completely valid that you go, I don't think I'm good at art or I want to pursue it. However, I would not base that on anything an art teacher says.
Mm-hmm.
If I had
Never
listened to
trust
what
anything
art
an art
teachers
teacher
said to
says.
me, I would not be making comics.
Yeah,
at
I don't.
all.
Yeah,
I probably would have stopped drawing.
I fell out of using Midjourney because fuck, I can do better than that. Like that's been my. I'm not interested in what Midjourney has to offer. Maybe I'm more exacting than a lot of people, but I'm sitting here.
Absolutely. I could never use it in
Yeah.
my actual art,
Can
but I
I,
can totally.
Yeah.
Would
use it
y'all
as, like, I
legitimately
need
like
a
the 2 cents of somebody
springboard.
who's not creative at all?
Yeah,
Because
go
y'all
for
are
it.
all artists.
Yeah.
So it took me a really long time to come to the realization, because I was very lonely as a child, so I always tried to entertain myself, and I'm not creative. I'm not. My brain doesn't work that way. What it does is collate, collect, and spit things out. So I've realized that I'm more of a prism than anything else, where I'm able to take creative in and spit it back out in a way that is appealing. So to me, instead of using AI art, the thing that appeals to me is editing comics, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no interest in AI art whatsoever. I find it boring. I think it's dumb.
I am going to say it's only as
It's just
boring
not
as the people
something to do.
making it. I think it's only as boring
I
as
don't think
the
that's
people
true.
making it, and
I
there are a
think
lot
that
of
I'm not boring at all, and I think that AI art is just a matter of sitting there and feeding it non sequiturs. I don't
Well-
have the time to sit there and come up with ideas. That doesn't mean I'm boring, Spike.
Well, no, I'm not calling you boring. I'm calling like the output of tons and tons of AI art is being made by extremely fucking boring people. There are artists
Yeah, that's why it's dumb.
There are artists I follow like Ursula Vernon and Stretched Wiener who are producing AI art that's pretty interesting to look at. So it's like calling oil paints boring. Like if you don't know how to use
Also,
them and you don't know how to render
Oil paints are boring
well, no,
most of
there
the
you're
time.
there
also,
you're entirely fucking wrong.
Andrea, I don't think most people putting them in are putting in non sequiturs. They're putting in things trying to get a desired result.
God,
like
yeah.
the guy, even the guy who wants the big titty anime girl eating noodles, even though that's apparently impossible for AI to imagine.
Before I left
like,
Midjourney,
I just don't know why you would want to make it yourself. Just create. There's so many images that are already out there.
but
I guess I've been on Tumblr for too long. I don't know.
Andrea, I'm going to illustrate a great point. So,
Oh boy.
before I left Midjourney, because I was in too many Discords, and I'm like, okay, this is neat. I see how it works. And I'm gone. Goodbye. I got to witness, because here's the thing about how it works. You join the Discord, and all your prompts are, at least until I left, are like public to everyone who uses it. Like,
yeah. Oh God.
You submit prompts through the Discord, so nothing you do, at least if you use Midjourney is like a secret, so anyone can see in that Discord the prompts you're using, and it's interesting to see like what people type to get certain images. But I remember watching this one extremely long. Like this one guy just kind of took over the generator for a while, where he was so clearly frustrated. He was trying to get it to generate this image over and over and over, and it wouldn't do it right. So he kept trying, and he would tweak the words, and it would get kind of there. He was clearly trying to make his dream woman. It was like
Matt showed me that guy.
The guy who was looking for like hot older woman,
older lady in bar, low cut top, drinking.
Yes, he was getting so fucking specific. He had this dream woman in his head, and he was like tweaking all the words, like maybe if I use a different word, and it would change the result, but it would be like, no, it's not.
So
right.
here's what's insane to me. Here's what's insane to me is I was a big fan of DeviantArt back in the day, and my time is worth money. And so if I had $5 to give an artist that I could give that information to get a drawing out of it, instead of sitting for an afternoon and wasting my time feeding the same sentence slightly different into a computer, I would just give the person the $5.
And I wish more people would too. But
okay, Untitled Project, I must be talking about someone similar, because the one I was watching, the words were clearly not about a long lost mother.
No.
The words I was looking about were,
Amanda.
Dude, I was looking at was really horny.
Yeah, the thing Amanda is talking about is a thing so horny and so fucking weird. My husband called me over to be all like, you need to see this guy. This is a guy you need to see. And it was straight up talking about his
Okay,
dream
a
woman
title project was joking.
was clearly some kind of like, he had a thing for British pub haunting cougars in really
I
low
don't know. I
cut
think it might just be me. I don't find that kind of stuff funny. I just think it's sad.
Oh
I
god.
think
The thing is,
the part I thought
Sorry.
was funny was just clearly that he had reached a point in the
Frustration.
generation where it was almost right.
almost.
That was the funny part, that he just
Yeah.
couldn't leave it well enough. Like, I'm like, okay, buddy, you got it most of the way there. Take your prize and go home. You're good. You got the print it out, put it on your wall. But no, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah,
It must be perfect.
it was a standard kind of mid-journey monster where it had the face that was almost right and like 7 fingers on this hand and 6 fingers on that hand, and it was sitting in an English pub that, you know, was from a Buick 8 level. Like, again, I bring this book up a lot because it's one of my favorite Stephen King books ever. But From a Buick 8 has a line in it about the central figure being something trying really, really hard to look like a Buick and almost getting it right. And that is what the pub looks like in the background. It's terrible.
I think why it makes me laugh so fucking much is because I get this mental image of like a sculptor being like, no, I'm so close, I almost have it, I just have to, but instead it's a guy going like, my dream titty girlfriend has 20 fingers and I can't fix it.
Yeah,
please save my wife.
She's very
Save my waifu.
Yeah,
please, she has so many fingers, help.
Yeah, and he was just like, Amanda's not exaggerating. He was just banging his head against this wall for ages.
I remember, I think he was submitting queries too. I think that's how I initially saw it. Maybe this is how Matt saw it too. But he was initially submitting queries like, hey, can y'all help me? And the people were like, no, we can't. We cannot help you, buddy. This is like...
he smashed 60 miles per hour into the limitations of that program.
Yeah, they're like, dude, this is it. It don't get better than this. It's like...
See, I kept mentioning the noodles because I did see the like multiple attempts to get the anime girl to eat noodles. And there was one where it was like anime girl with big titties and cleavage, but then she was within bigger cleavage somehow. Like,
wow.
It was also connected to her. Like, it was funny how the AI was messing up because it was basically the prompt was just big titty anime girl eating noodles. And the eating noodles part was like beyond the computer's like ability.
Yeah.
Like I think the thing is like my sense of humor is extremely absurdist most of the time. So the shit that gets me is like when AI just goes like, I don't fucking know here, and I love it so much.
I do think what else is funny is there was a discussion about like what can AI do that an artist can't or whatever. And then one guy basically said, listen, AI art is a boon to, and he used a very long word that if you look it up basically means droopy eye fetish. Like,
yeah.
And this was this guy's argument, like, it is a boon to our community. We have all the droopy eye art we could ever want. Like,
and good for you. Good for fucking you. At the same time, like the thing that this sounds kind of fluffy, but it's a thing that I can't help but think every time this discussion really gets going. It's at the end of the day, art has survived the camera, so it's going to survive AI art too. People aren't going to stop creating because a machine can approximate what they do, kinda close enough, 80%.
Yeah, but all of those engravers went out of business.
Engravers did go out of business, and sign painters went out of business too when there were like fucking Xerox places on every corner. That's true, but at the same time, that's talking about the commercial aspect. I'm talking about artists, not professional.
Yeah,
artists.
I would love to see someone train an AI to make a titty time.
Yeah, and again, like an AI can make a painterly drawing. Okay, cool. Can it do what I do? At the end of the day, no, it can't. It can't. Like I am
farting. You can get the robot anxiety.
I am farting out the dumbest piece of shit I've ever done in my life on co-host.
Oh shit! No,
about...
they did make a robot version of me, the ketchup robot.
Yeah.
Simone robot. Yeah, I'm farting out the dumbest shit of my life on co-host, and the response I am getting to it is wild and unexpected and incredibly heartening. And it is because a human is doing this, and a human understands things about other humans and what other humans like and what other humans relate to. And at best, right now, technology within our lifetime will never be able to equal what... I'm sorry, this sounds so bullshit. It will never be able to equal what we can do as storytellers and people who understand other people.
Says you.
AI could never make Human Centipede.
Exactly. That again. That's much more succinct. Much more. Yeah, that is it. AI can't make Human Centipede.
Also, like,
why would it want to?
Yeah. It can only, at the end of the day, it's a program. It can only do what we tell it to do at the end of the day.
Yep.
It also couldn't make the Red Flags music video, which is delightful. And
I fucking love that. Oh, for folks who don't know, that video fucking resonates. I fucking love it because
that's you.
No, I don't actually. I'm kind of like on Human Centipede.
I don't mean specifically about Human Centipede.
But the thing that I love about that video is the male character who also appeared in Mixed Messages, the previous video by the same musician and others. That character is not based on that musician or any input from that musician in any way. That is a fucking Fallout OC by someone I followed on Tumblr.
It's also the character they play in Grand Theft Auto, and
his name is Buttons.
Yeah,
his name is Buttons. He's adorable, and it's fun watching her like put him in these ridiculous situations. And I remember when I first saw like the thumbnail, I was like, that's fucking Buttons. Like, I either need to find this person and tell them someone is fucking wholesale ripping your ass off, or like investigate. Like, no, that is the artist. And I fucking love that someone's goddamn Fallout and GTA OC is now getting like 5 million hits on YouTube in a comedic music video. I love it.
That's the dream.
Yeah, it's so goofy.
Yeah, to have your bullshit and just be allowed to keep doing it.
Yeah, and I found the old, like, if you want to draw my character, here's the model sheet for Buttons, and I was like linking it on Twitter, and people were like, what? It's cool. I love it.
If you want to draw my characters, you have to buy my comic books and study them.
Yeah, if you want to draw my characters, feel free. No one ever does, though. It's fine.
If you want to draw my characters, I don't have any.
But yeah, at the end of the day, we are still better than machines. Like, find heart in that. We are still better than machines.
I mean,
you might be.
I might make better art than a machine, but
yeah, but overall, the machine's got me.
Yeah.
Can a fucking machine make Starry Night?
I said I make better art than a machine.
You said might. It's not might.
No, I didn't say might.
You totally said
You know, to be honest, a machine could do my job. All I do is answer emails all day.
No. I disagree with that because here's the thing. I guess I don't know if y'all have dabbled in the text generating AI space before.
God, yeah,
but that's a whole other can of worms, and like it'll tell you, oh, it's not trained on copyrighted work, but it frequently.
Okay, you say that, but those Google auto replies are like 90% of my emails.
No. When I talk about AI, there are services you can pay to generate text for various things. It can be things for like, you just need blurbs. You're just like, I sell propane and I just need blurbs, some flowery blurbs for my website. I'm not good at words. So I just need it to say in more than 5 words, we sell propane. Our propane is good quality. You can basically put that into some of these generators and it'll give you more of a website-y blur, like, here at blah, 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 we make quality. You know what I mean? It'll help you be wordier.
Putting copywriters out of business.
Absolutely.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what it's meant for. However, it fucks up in several ways. First, they tell you things like Drew Gooden, someone else, other people have done videos and I've dabbled in it too before because it's funny, but Drew Gooden did a good video about it, about AI text generators if you want to like dive into that. And his video is a good example of at least two of the many things it does. Is one, they say they don't plagiarize, but they do. There are absolutely sentences you can find from other websites. They're very generic sentences, but they do. Two is they cannot self-edit, so when they go off the rails, they go fucking off the rails.
Yeah,
like,
and
you will have this wasn't in his video. He did something similar, but something I got it to do when I was just trying to generate really innocuous things is I got something about child murder, and it was like, I don't know where you got this. So that's one of the reasons why I'm like, it's going to be a long time before I think an AI can answer an email without being like, hi, thanks for responding, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to eat your cat.
Yeah, there is one of the things that Matt, my husband, used to be really into before he went all in on Midjourney is he thought the funniest thing in the world was getting a length of fairly normal text, like multiple paragraphs, and feeding it to those text generators and just seeing what they did. Because they feel like a comic. I think it was a David Willis comic that that I saw years ago, where someone was holding a gun to Frank Miller's head and just going,
and he wrote horse.
Yeah, all you have to do is write one comic script without prostitutes in it. And it starts off like, it was a dark night in the city, and then horse. Like, that is what the AI did. It can hold on for just like fucking maybe like 8, 9, 10 sentences. And then suddenly it's talking about like heart disease and the African lion pride and the moons of Jupiter. And it's like, bitch, no one asked. What the fuck are you doing?
See, I know Andrea can stay on topic for at least 10 sentences. That's why she's that's why
every
she
single
beat the
person here.
machines.
No. Every single person here knows that is blatantly untrue.
No, I've seen an email from
blatantly untrue.
I've seen an email from you. I have seen an email from you. Therefore, I have proof.
Oh my god,
that was a form email. I don't know her.
I'm just saying.
She doesn't even go here.
I'm just saying. I have proof that you can hold your shit together and not accidentally send someone a death threat.
That's not completely true because some of my response emails do come off as death threats.
All Andrea's death threats are intentional, I'll have you know.
Yeah, no, I say what I mean.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're gonna be a dick in my replies, you're gonna get a dick reply back.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Sincerely, everybody who's called me a sir.
That's what I'm saying. If a death threat comes from you, I know it's real and not. Oh,
thanks, sweetie.
You got confused.
That's what I'm gonna fucking murder you.
Yeah, one of the things like,
oh, don't worry, I remember. I know my death is imminent.
In my opinion, this is one of those conversations that kind of needs to be had, and we're sort of like circling it these days. And I mean like society. And
hey, you got a mouse in your pocket over there, Spike?
No, one of the things that I'm thinking about is like, so we all remember there was a phase where all of the help stuff, all of the help desk shit was outsourced to other countries. And like, that was like a meme in society. That was part of the zeitgeist for a while. And then that very promptly stopped. And it was never really, in my opinion, sufficiently addressed why that stopped. It stopped because of AI. And then in journalism, especially if you are interested in things like investing in the stock market, you will notice when you are reading articles about, stocks that are about to IPO or stocks that are currently about to have a performance report, the articles are all incredibly gray and bloodless. It's because they are formulaic and written by AI. And that AI shit is coming to the visual arts in a very narrow interpretation of the visual arts. And this is the march of, they call it the march of progress. It's the march of capitalism. It's the march of excising the human element for the sake of maximizing profit. And if we are going to live in a society that's going to keep fucking doing this, because no one is safe, they're going to try and make this a part of society in as many facets of society, all the way to self-driving truck convoys. We need to start fucking talking about all the people this is going to put out of business and start seeing the forest for the trees instead of fighting little tiny individual battles where it's AI art sucks, AI journalism sucks, AI cars suck. We need to sort of come together and sort of have this discussion as a civilization, because I do not feel this is something that is going to get stopped or outlawed or curbed. So we need to plan for a future where literal millions of people cannot earn living wages doing basic ass shit because capitalism has robbed them of that ability.
Right, you say that, but I was somebody who grew up in Michigan, and I've heard the lie that the robots are taking jobs since before I knew what a job was. So it's been 30 some odd years,
Well, they
and the
have
robots still
taken
haven't taken the jobs.
but it's been very
They've
specific.
taken some jobs, but there's
Robots-
always you're never going to be able to have an unstaffed McDonald's, which is the dream for that corporation to not have to pay any workers. You're always going to need a person on site. Until you're able to run something without a person on site, which is a vending machine, you're not doing
but
AI.
one person
Okay,
on
to-
site is very different from like
Yeah.
a team.
That's why I was talking about AI trucking convoys. That's the kind of thing where there are 10, 18 wheelers on the highway and one driver. That's a cut of 90%. And Amazon stores where people just walk in and grab stuff off the shelf and leave. That technically is not fully unstaffed, but it has much fewer staff than a CVS across the street that offers the exact same products.
Oh.
That
And
is-
even with self-checkout, even the CVS has way less staff.
yeah. And again,
And I remember
like,
when the
we have-
Piggly Wiggly was announced that they said it was going to put shopkeepers out of business. I mean,
Well-
that's March of Progress.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, March of Progress is a thing, but the human element needs to be considered the same way that March of Progress means a single family can handle a 700-acre farm back in the day. And now that there are tractors and threshers and industrialization, you don't need to hire 500 seasonal workers to help you bring in the harvest. And all those
Okay, now
workers
I
back
know
in the
you
day-
didn't grow up rural.
Well, no, here's
My
the thing.
dad had 8 siblings, and they had to farm the land that they lived on because they were too poor to afford food.
Yeah, okay.
If you needed farm workers, you had kids.
Okay, but
Okay, yes, I know that.
I know
but what
that.
I'm
I've
what
also
I'm
seen the opposite of what I have actually seen what Spike's talking about.
Yeah, the
too.
Industrial
Oh.
Revolution
Yeah.
happened because people who literally subsisted exclusively on the hundreds of people that needed to show up to various estates and help bring in the crop now no longer had jobs. That's where the word sabotage comes from, because workers in factories were putting their sabots, their wooden shoes, into
I know about
industrialized.
sabotage.
Yeah, and they were doing the same thing to the threshers in the UK at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And the result of that massive drop in the need for human employment is everyone moving to the city. And there are going to be knock-on effects, in my opinion, that are going to be on the same level, and like a tidal change in society as more and more AI is adopted and more jobs are rendered non-existent.
Yeah, you
or
just brought up
unpaid.
industrial age. We're just having the digital industrial age. I
And,
mean, everything's
is-
cyclical. It's the turn of the century. Look what's going to happen.
Yeah,
What's
but-
the jungle going to be of technology?
Yeah, this is-
Facebook?
This is something we need to plan for as a society, or it's going to destroy a lot of people and blow up in a lot of faces. We need a universal basic income, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's what I've been waiting to read. I'm like, just say it, Spike. Just say it. I know that's where we're building.
Say the line, Spike.
Because I was like, is she not gonna say it? Do I gotta say it?
Well, this is just a thing that
And everyone turned into a communist, and then everyone clapped.
Yeah, it's like
Yay.
And then
look
it became Star Trek.
But to be
Yeah, what-
fair, that
Oh,
would
yep.
it's either A, you reserve these jobs, so like, I know we can have a robot, but no robot, or just give people the money they need to survive, and then it doesn't matter. You can have your robots.
and part of this is why-
handouts in my America.
But that's the thing. The savings that are engendered when you have one driver on your 10 truck convoy, or one worker in your CVS, or however many people.
But
the
that's
savings
happening
you-
now.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm getting there.
Yeah. Okay.
They
Okay.
are-
Sorry.
All that money trickles upwards. All those savings aren't passed on to anyone. Those people are fired, and the money continues to be hoarded by the 1%, which is
Like,
also
I've been
why.
poor my whole life. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But that is also why I support fucking maximum wages. Like, we have minimum wages. I also believe we should have maximum
Abby
wages.
points out a good thing.
You just got to get out there and vote, man.
Well, I do, but
Abby points out a good thing. Not everyone will watching the podcast will know what sabotage came from. I didn't. I think there's a
sorry.
misconception that specific people are being talked to when it's a broader conversation. Like, I didn't know the sabotage thing.
and it's like
Sorry.
It's
after
okay.
a certain point, when you're earning ungodly amounts of money, you don't fucking need anymore. It should be a 100% tax rate after a certain point, because the savings you are making from putting 90% of your workforce out on the street, they're going directly into your pockets, and they fucking shouldn't. They should all be going towards UBI and social programs, because when you put people on the street who have a very specific skill set that is literally no longer required in the modern world, that is a recipe for fucking disaster. And I think we're not going to learn that lesson until cities are fucking burning.
We need the
Wow.
hits.
All right.
I mean, I think we are approaching that phase. One of the tenets of communism, and one of the things people, I'm not a communist, by the way, I'm a socialist, but one of the things that communists will talk about is, as described by Marx and Engels, they kind of understood the communism they were looking forward to was not possible at the current level of technology. And I think we won't live to see it, but we are approaching this period where we are going to have a much more, it's jokingly referred to as fully automated luxury space communism, but like I think that's kind of the Star Trek future people are kind of planning on.
Okay.
I think that's in the pipe.
Okay,
And-
it is too. We have been talking for 2 hours.
Oh no, Spike got
Yeah.
political. Stop her.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But people probably got to go to bed soon. I will say, I would like to end this on
I
a
am
lighter
from the
note.
East Coast over here. Sorry, guys.
I will
Yeah.
like to end this on a lighter note, because sometimes we end this on a bummer note, and I leave and I
Horrifying note.
get
Horrifying.
sad, basically. It's okay, but I would like to leave this on a lighter note. If you want to see when do your own experiments and see how text generation AI can just go and fart itself to death, all you have to do is pick something weird like mushroom shaped coffee mug and type top 25 reviews mushroom shaped coffee mugs. There are so many sites that will just generate a listicle for something, anything, so it can slap affiliate links onto it and be like a fake top 25. And when they don't have anything to pull from, like other reviews to copy, like it's just something fucking weird, they'll still try, and they will say some wild shit.
Or feed it some William Burroughs. Just feed it William Burroughs.
No, I'm saying this is one where you don't have to generate anything. You just type top 25 review of something weird, and you'll see a generation someone else attempted and where it fucks up. It can be real funny sometimes.
Yes. AI text generators.
You should. You should show people watching the wonderful coffee shop I designed while we were all talking.
Which one? The last
and
one?
The nice bar. Well, the last one's the bar, and so the top two are the coffee shop.
I will pick
from different
one.
angles.
And Amanda just tried
All right,
to end it on a light
show the
note.
bar.
Yeah, Amanda just tried to end it on a light note, but I'm going to end it on a dark note.
No.
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 I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to cut you off.
I have a comic I'm making right now as we speak.
That's not a dark.
I have a comic that just crowdfunded for the most money we've ever made out of a crowdfunding, and both of those books have my name on the cover.
No, that is not the most money we have ever made out of a crowdfunding. The most money we have ever made out of a crowdfunding is for, I think,
Lackadaisy.
Yes.
And then,
sorry, for a comic, since I work for Iron Circus Comics.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay, then Woman in the Woods is the most crowdfunding money.
Is it higher than Lackadaisy?
No, because I was saying comics.
Yeah. Woman in the Woods.
You're the only one who does animation stuff, Spike. We all work in comics.
Yeah, but I have an IMDb page. Isn't that fucked up? But whatever.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
cool.
no, 100% that is.
Yeah, but yeah, if we are doing the whole end on a lighter note thing, in the first quarter of
I mean, the guy who made Cool Cat has an IMDb.
I know, right?
So, like,
yeah, but like in the first quarter of 2023, everyone, we will be debuting the very first Iron Circus animation project, and I can't wait to show it to y'all because we've been working on it for 2 years. And much like Iron Circus, it's been a fully online kind of deal, except it's not run out of a Slack, it's run out of a Discord. And Tracy Butler and Fable Siegel, who are the primary creative folks on it, they have been pouring their fucking hearts and souls into it, and it looks like $1 million, and it's so good. and I'm so fucking happy. And y'all are gonna just really dig it.
Can I brag about something that I've spent since 2017 working on and putting together and scraping all of my heart through and digging through all
we were doing our outros, but yeah, go.
Yeah, go for it. You're the guest. Do your outro first.
Thank you. I want to brag about Smut Peddler 10th Anniversary Edition. For folks who are longtime readers of Smut Peddler and longtime fans of Iron Circus, if any of y'all have the 2014 edition, you'll notice my name's actually in the front page. So for me, doing the 2012 10th Anniversary Edition and having my name on the cover is basically something that I never thought would happen and is a life-changing experience in every way, shape, and form. And honestly, knowing that it's one of the higher amounts that we've ever funded, it makes me realize that I'm not a piece of shit, which is nice.
Yeah, it's not the biggest.
I'm worthwhile. Humanity has said so.
It's not the biggest, but I believe it is the third largest. So it is the bronze medal Iron Circus baby.
It's the biggest one I've had my name on the cover for.
Exactly. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. Super appreciate it. I'm Spike. You can find me on the hell site that is Twitter at iron_spike. You can find me on co-host, Pillow Fort, and Hive. Yeah, Hive, I'm there. I'm just squatting though. At Iron Spike, no underscore. I write a comic called Blikada. It is about Bolshevik elves. You can find that at blikada.com, BLIKADA.com. I also do a comic about a monster and his friend who is also a monster. That's on my co-host, which is co-host, COHOST.org/Iron Spike, all one word. I also have a Twitter account for my company, the premier publisher of graphic novels in the American Midwest, Iron Circus Comics. Just go to twitter.com/Iron Circus to keep abreast of the situation.
Do you got any blue apron?
Kel McDonald.
Anything like that?
Wait, what?
I was making fun of Spike because she's doing real fancy official stuff.
Oh, I've just done it so much.
That's what we always do.
Also, she doesn't have to because she has a pinned tweet now.
It's always good. Also, everyone, press the like button on this stream because apparently YouTube.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, it does a little woo thing when you press the like button. It's kind of cool to see.
My name is Kel McDonald. I make comics you can read at kelmcdonald.com. They're about gay werewolves in the future. You should read them. I also have a Patreon that you can back at patreon.com/kelmcdonald. I stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights at twitch.tv/kelmcdonald. I am on Twitter as Kelhound, which is spelled like Hellhound, but with a K. I am on a bunch of other social medias as Kel McDonald. There's too many to name, so just follow those.
Just search Kel McDonald and you'll find you.
Yeah, and then but the main ones that if you want to get a hold of me, following my Twitch or my Twitter are the best bet. But everything is on my website, and that is the main place you should go. That's it.
I'm Amanda Lafrene. It's AMANDALAFRENAIS.com. That links to all my stuff. I don't have a lot to promo right now, but I will. I just looked at my fake watch I don't have when what's fucking wrong with me?
How's your wrist doing?
I don't know, but I was about to list weeks.
Oh, buddy.
Why would I need a watch? Anyway, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have some shit. So look forward to that.
Wow. Great outro, Amanda.
All right. Well, I guess I'll bring it home for y'all. I'm the editor at Iron Circus, ANDREA PURCEL. I'm the person who answers all of your emails. Please stop addressing them all to Spike. You can find me on the internet if you try really hard, but I wish you wouldn't because I don't do anything good on there. And make sure that when you read your books, look on the inside cover and see who worked on them because it's not just the publisher, you guys.
Nope. That is absolutely. Iron Circus is
read more comics, god damn it!
Yes, support small press now more than ever as the media landscape becomes more homogenous and bloodless and gutless.
The corporations are not making the art that you seek, your peers are.
Yes, thank you. Stop begging for scraps at the table of the megacorps.
And for God's sake, read some porn!
Yeah!
Hopefully you'll have sex several times in your life. You'll never murder a person, we can hope. Good God.
There's only 14 people watching, and I'm pretty sure we're preaching to the choir, considering.
Yeah.
Hallelujah!
Yeah.
Can I get an amen?
No.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
for putting up with me.